Start a little bit early. A second. Give me a second, guys. Just got that camera problem again. Just need to sort this out. Give me 1 second. Put my thing up. Every time I do these streams, I feel like I get a camera problem. Get this back up. Video capture device. Alright, I think we're good. Chuck that on the screen there. Not really sure why it's a rectangle, but we'll configure it. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to go live before. And I wanted to show you something. A controversial topic. Then I realized it's probably a really bad idea. I don't want to lose my channel. Bring this over here. And I need to post quickly. Just bear with me, guys, who are in the chat. I need to post quickly again to the group chat and on YouTube that I'm going live now because I was meant to go live in 10 minutes, but the stream glitched out, so no one actually knows I'm live right now. So I'll just post that quickly. So you guys just bear with me. Come back in 5 minutes if you want to. To see if we're actually live. Yeah, we've got 8 viewers. I think we're live here. Okay, should probably make a post. We'll go. Chuck that link in there. All right, so I've made those posts, so we should be getting some more people in here in a second. And then we can start the stream. All right, 5 viewers. I feel it. Yeah, I definitely stuffed this up. I should have started 4 minutes in later from now, but the original stream link broke, and I was going live, and something happened. It all glitched out and all went wrong. So there's probably a bit of confusion here because I had an original link. You guys would have seen it. That was meant to be up, but yeah, it deleted. I don't know what happened. Something happened. So that's probably going to stuff up the algorithm a bit. But regardless, we're here. We're here now. What do you think about the shirt, by the way? I think it's a pretty nice shirt. What do you guys think? Bit golfy. It's got a bit of a golf vibe, which I don't know how much I like. But, you know, it's not too bad. I went for a test drive today in a car that I was interested in as well, but I don't know. Didn't really do it for me, to be honest. So I said no. Walked away. Literally walked away as well. Literally walked away because I didn't actually drive there. So what can you do? But regardless, we're here now. All right. So how you guys going? Good afternoon. Vlad, how you going? Alex, hey, it's 11:20 p.m. here where I'm at, but I'm looking forward to a future live stream. No worries. I'm going to be switching up the time in the future, so that's all good. Keep going, mate. You're the best. Appreciate that. Hey, Wolf, what do you think about our freedom being slowly taken away, if you agree at all? Yeah, I 100% do agree with you. In fact, that's a big part of this live stream today. And, you know, we will be covering that central bank digital currency-esque kind of topic in the live stream today. And so, yeah, I 100% agree with you, but our freedom is slowly being taken away. Again, I have to be a little bit cautious about how much I say with this kind of thing on YouTube. And I will continue to be cautious with that because, I don't want to get banned. But central bank digital currencies, and there's a pretty, big conversation to be had around there. And that's regarding the UK going back to QE and how that could affect the world and obviously Russia and Ukraine situation. We'll talk about that in the actual Bitcoin segment of this video. I'm just going to refresh my live streaming tab here because it says that I have 0 viewers, which I know to be incorrect because I can see in the chat there is certainly not 0 viewers. There we go. That's a little bit better. What else we got? If Bitcoin were to dump this month, would do it. This month? Do you mean September? Because there's only 1 day left in September. I assume you mean October, in which case, yeah, I agree. What's your take on the DXY? Talking about that in this live stream today, of course. You have the best fashion sense, mate. Yeah, cheers. I don't know if that's true. Half of my Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel career, I guess you could say, I've just been wearing hoodies. So I don't know if that's entirely true, but hey, I appreciate the compliment regardless. Where do you shop? I don't shop any fancy designer brands or anything like that. I don't necessarily believe in buying expensive clothing, unless it's something nice like a watch or a suit. But realistically, for everyday clothing, I think that the difference between a $50 t-shirt and a $500 t-shirt is very minuscule, and I think that the kind of people who will be able to determine the difference between those two shirts isn't really going to be impressed in the fact that you're wearing that shirt regardless. So I think dressing nice is very important. You need to present yourself in a correct fashion. That's 100% correct. But, let's be realistic here. Can you tell the difference between a $500 t-shirt and a $50 shirt? You probably can, and it's probably very marginal. You're buying the brand at the end of the day. Still some time left. Hey, Wolf, what do you think about the XRP pump today? Look, I looked into the XRP pump 2 days ago, and it was going pretty well. I'm assuming it's just continuing to the upside. Nothing particularly special. Look, I don't necessarily care too much about XRP, if I'm being entirely honest. It's not in my list of concerns right now. What I'm more concerned about at the moment would certainly be Bitcoin, and the economic situation in Europe, specifically Europe. And we'll talk about that today. Not a good time to buy a new/used car right now. That's correct. Well, it's not. Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. Didn't you say XRP was done? I don't think I ever said it was done. If I did say that, I don't have any recollection of it. I don't have enough knowledge on XRP to understand whether it's going to die out. I simply don't have enough knowledge on it. Nice to see you live. Thanks, mate. The $50 is far more comfortable. It's comfortable in the sense as well that you don't need to worry about it, because if you're walking around a $500 t-shirt, first and foremost, regardless of the fact that might be a bit of a waste of money, it's also like you can't do anything. You have to be careful where you sit. You have to watch out. Oh, you don't want to get it wrinkled. Don't want to get a cigarette burn in it, for example. I don't know if some people might smoke, but stuff like that. You just don't have to worry about that with relatively cheaper clothing. So yeah, I 100% would agree that there's no real need to get that expensive stuff. But regardless of all of that, guys, because we're not here to talk about fashion at the end of the day, we are, however, here to talk about Bitcoin. And we will do so. All right, so I'm going to start the big Bitcoin segment. Because I was meant to start this live stream 2 minutes ago, so I'm assuming people are going to start flowing in. Again, the link did break. Lots of people got their notifications turned off. Can't get the KFC. Yeah, that's right. So we're just going to start with Bitcoin regardless, because they'll see it afterwards. I'm going to upload it afterwards. Let's see it. All right, so Bitcoin, guys. 3, 2, 1. We're here with Bitcoin. What is going on specifically with Bitcoin? Okay, well, that's a big question, isn't it? That's the question everyone wants to know. Where's the bottom? Is the bottom in? What's going on in Europe specifically is an even bigger question that I think relates to Bitcoin, and it's probably the most important question we can be asking right now. But before we ask it, Bitcoin in itself on the charts, plain and alone. What is going on with Bitcoin on the charts? Still got the downtrending yellow line, okay? These two pink dashed lines represent FOMC and represent CPI. Those are going to be happening on the 13th of October and the 2nd of November. We've also got a channel formation here on Bitcoin, and then within that channel formation, we have a pretty major line, for example, on the 4-hourly chart that's acting as a kind of resistance and support line. You should draw that up if you don't already have it. Basically, Bitcoin is just a conglomerate of very confusing lines, and just so much stuff going on, compressing into resistance, and it's really just a bit of a mess right now. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. It's a mess. We're skipping in and out of lines like it's butter. We had a little fake out below the larger channel. We've jumped in and above and below this line like 3 times. 19.5k is the only thing that's remaining slightly consistent, because 19.5k, of course, is that red line here, this one, that is stemming back from the 2017 all-time high. Okay, so if we zoom all the way back, we can see, I'm going to make it pink so you guys can see it, and I'm going to make this upper one red so it distinguishes it. 19.5k is the red line for 2017. That's the only real line that's being respected properly in the shorter term and in the medium term on Bitcoin. Everything else is kind of just being neglected. It's kind of just being tossed around. And even on a daily chart, 19.5k is doing okay, all right? It's pretty consistent. So what I would do right now if I was you and you wanted to know kind of the bare minimum of what you needed on the Bitcoin chart, what I would recommend to you is this. Draw in a line at 11.5k, a line at 13.8k, and a line at 17.5k, and then draw in that downtrending line from November, and then draw in a resistance line at like 19.5k. And that's probably the bare minimum. That's probably, if you wanted to do that, the bare minimum, that is what I would do. That's what I draw for Bitcoin, because that's really about it. That's really all that's really particularly important there. Other than that, well, what's the situation? Well, the situation, is not really something that's revolving around the charts right now. The situation is more what's revolving around the news. This is an article. It's not any particular article. It's just a random article on the topic that explains what's happening in the United Kingdom. In the UK right now, we have the United Kingdom switching back to quantitative easing, which means they're printing money again, guys. Okay, that's what it means. It just means they're printing money again. And at a very, very surface base level, it means that they're printing money again. And that's not a good thing. Why is that not a good thing? Because what did they do during the pandemic? Printed money. What happens to the markets? The markets inflated. The markets were great, right? Everything went up. It was awesome. But everything else in society, was poisoned. And that's why we're seeing this inflationary crisis right now. So the fact that the UK, and I'll read this article in a second because it's very important, it needs to be read. The fact that the UK has made this shift back to quantitative easing is not something they would have wanted to do. It's something they would have had to do. It's something that they probably had no other choice, right? So that represents, and that kind of, shows us that there's extreme weakness amongst Western economies right now. Obviously, this is just revolving around the UK, but there's no telling as to whether this will spill from the UK into somewhere like the United States of America. And as, for example, Michael Saylor, right? I don't know how much you guys trust Michael Saylor. I can't say I particularly trust him too much, given his track record, but the point is, he is a big name. He has a lot of influence. And he's saying printer is coming, and he's probably referring to the United States of America since he's US-based, right? And he puts hashtag Bitcoin. Why does he put hashtag Bitcoin? Because if the printer does come, in his words, if the US and most Western countries do shift back to quantitative easing, following in the path of the UK, potentially they'll be forced into that by Russia, that would pump Bitcoin. Yeah, again, it would pump Bitcoin, it would pump the markets. Everything else would suffer, though. So look, You know, we've got in this article, in order to save the UK bond market and prop up the pound, the Bank of England is going back to quantitative easing, and they are planning to start purchasing UK bonds once again in order to stop the rot. They state that this return to quantitative easing will only be temporary, but at the same time they claim that bond purchases will be carried out on whatever scale is necessary to calm the markets. That's scary, right? That's worrying stuff, okay? You know, that's the Bank of England saying, guys, we don't want to do this. This is what they're saying. Guys, we don't want to do this. We understand this is going to negatively affect everything, but we have to. We have to do it, and we have to carry it out at whatever scale is necessary. There's no limits. They even said it themselves. There's no limit to how much they will print to get out of this problem. And guess what? If you print money, it leads to more inflation. What is the major problem in the West right now? Bingo, it's inflation. So they put themselves in a position right now in which they need to basically print money in order to get out of the current situation, with the knowledge that printing money will get them into a worse situation in the future. They're putting a band-aid on a long-term problem, which is the same thing they did for 2 years since 2020. Very bad, okay? How does this relate to the markets? Again, it's very good for the markets. Again, it's bad for everything else, but it's very good for the markets. So if we do see this shift in the West from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, like we've seen in the UK, we will, it's not even a question, we will see the broader markets, including Bitcoin and the S&P, whatever, pump. They will pump. That's just a simple reality, right? They will pump. And the S&P, for example, has found a bottom here at 3,600. In the meantime, when that news about shifting back to quantitative easing came in the UK 2 days ago or yesterday, we saw a massive green candle, as you can see there, and it showed that support is very much holding. So this couldn't come at a better time for the S&P and for Bitcoin, which is also finding a similarly structured double bottom type thing here. It couldn't come at a better time as well. So, you know, is this orchestrated? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so, but it certainly is good timing for the markets. All right. So I don't know, man. Like that's pretty, you know, I want to really emphasize how crazy that is. The UK, that's a big deal, right? The UK has said, we can't keep this up. We can't keep up these interest rate hikes at the moment. They're still going to raise interest rates, but they can't really keep it up right now. We're struggling. The economy's falling apart. Inflation's out of control. The only way out we have is quantitative easing. That's what they said. Crazy. That's insane. That's a big display of weakness. We could very well be seeing the beginning of the end for fiat currency here. In fact, the beginning of the end, well, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? But, you know, I mean, you know, on a relative scale, this could be very much the beginning of the end, right? And if you look at what's going to go on with winter, and I know I'm going to get back into the charts in a second, but if you look what's going to go on with winter, you know, regards to Russia, you know, Russia's still supplying oil to Europe, okay? But what is their only tool here? Their only tool really to combat the West properly is by standing their ground in Ukraine and also continuing to cut off those oil supplies, right? So essentially, you know, when winter comes and when it's really cold, when everyone needs electricity, you know, to warm their houses, what's going to happen? Well, Russia's going to cut that off, okay? The common person's going to struggle even more than they already are so. And at the same time, government's going to be printing tons of money, driving inflation up the roof. This could be very bad. And I think if it's going to get to that point, it's going to happen between December and March. And that is what European winter is. Very scary stuff. Great for the markets, bad for everything else. And 4-year cycle theory, coincidentally, could play out perfectly in this scenario. You know, we could see the bottom on Bitcoin in Q4 in this scenario. And believe it or not, if the situation does get really, really bad, market's going to pump, that Q4 bottom's going to be in 4-year cycle, still going to remain valid for Bitcoin. Even though it's not going to be as natural as we would have liked it, it's still going to remain valid. So I think in the scenario in which everything goes normally and the markets act out according to the TA, I think we'll see a Q4 bottom. And in the scenario in which everything goes crazy and the West falls apart, we'll still see a Q4 bottom. So regardless, the Q4 bottom, in my opinion, on Bitcoin looks very, very, very likely at this point in time. I think that the only thing we can really do is stick by the buying plan. I genuinely do believe in this buying plan. I think it is a very strong buying plan. I think that it covers all scenarios quite well. And I think we have it here. You know, 33% at 17.5k to 18k, 33% at 11.5k to 13.8k, and 67% at the breakout. I think that's a very good buying plan. And if we don't reach 11k to 13k, we've got 33% at 17.5k to 18k, and we've got 67% at the breakout. Okay, I think that actually covers all scenarios. Regardless of what happens in Europe, regardless of what happens with the charts in general, I think that really does cover all scenarios. I don't necessarily see how Bitcoin could go down that far. Because what is the worst case scenario for here? The worst case scenario is every country goes back to quantitative easing, right? and the markets pump. The best case scenario is the TA plays out normally and we still see a Q4 bottom. You know, there obviously is a chance that we just do neither of those things, but I think it's very minuscule, right? So, I don't know. I'm sticking by my Q4 prediction. There's really not much else to say about it. The only thing that complicates my Q4 prediction that I can really see, and this is the strongest piece of evidence that I can see that is against it, is the fact that, you know, we don't necessarily ever see the S&P 500 bottom out until until interest rates, start decreasing, okay? Each one of these pink lines matches up with each one of these yellow lines in the S&P. Each one of these yellow lines in the S&P represents where the bottom was on every single major correction, okay? And these pink lines show you where that is in the interest rates charts. And the conclusion here is essentially this, okay? We don't see the S&P 500 bottom out until interest rates are decreasing. That's the conclusion, right? Now, that doesn't mean Bitcoin can't bottom though, as we know, because Bitcoin doesn't bottom and top at the same time as the S&P. Bitcoin topped out 2 months before the S&P, back in November, where the S&P only topped in January. You know, that's one piece of evidence. Also, on top of that, you know, if we see this dramatic shift in the West from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, this is going to be completely irrelevant data. So, you know, a lot of the data here is being thrown out the window by what's going on in the actual global events. Very interesting stuff, guys. And a lot of people want me to look at the DXY, and this all lines up perfectly. Again, it looks like it's almost too good to be natural. It's almost like it's orchestrated, right? Wink, wink. It's almost like it's orchestrated potentially. The DXY, right, at the same time as the UK announced they're going back to quantitative easing, the DXY was retesting a channel that stems from 2007, and we rejected off of that very sharply due to that reason. Okay, so I don't know. It's a little bit fishy. I'll be honest with you, and there is argument to be made here. There is an argument to be made, and I don't want to sound, you know, and this is getting a little bit speculative, but there is an argument to be made potentially that, you know, the Western societies here, maybe they're giving up on fiat entirely, and maybe they're just going to pump it. They're just going to print as much money as possible and then abandon ship and then switch over to central bank digital currencies. When everyone's at their lows, when everyone can not pay for anything anymore, maybe that's when they just jump ship and switch over to central bank digital currencies. Maybe. We'll see. You know? So yeah. You know, that's really all there is to say about Bitcoin. I think there's really big news there, you know? And especially considering central bank digital currencies. Maybe the game's up. Maybe they realize the game's up. Maybe inflation's too high to control. Maybe the situation in Russia is too hard to control. It's all going to lead to havoc, and maybe the only way out is just ditching fiat and going to central bank digital currencies. That's speculation, of course, but it is interesting to consider. Zerpit said, Wolf, check your maths. 33%. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we understand. I know 33 plus 33 plus 33 equals 99, but I don't know where you're necessarily finding that, seeing as I said 33 plus 33 plus... Oh, okay, there you go. Okay. I know what you mean. Okay. It's meant to be plus 33 here as well. Okay. Yep. Thank you for pointing that out. I was about to judge you, but you're actually correct. Don't be too quick to judge, guys. That's the lesson there. Shout out to Zerpit, man. So yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you guys want me to talk about on Bitcoin? Because there's really not much else other than that. You know, it's just the same. It's really just the same old. The buying plan's still the same. The only thing that's changing the macro is shifting dramatically. You know, and if we look at the probability in the US, for example, for a 50 basis point hike instead of a 75 basis point hike in the next rate decision, you know, that's rising. Last week, that was 29%. You know, last week there was a 29% chance we see a 50 basis point hike. Now it's 41%. It's gone up. It's gone up 12%. So everything's looking bad. I don't know what to say. Not for the charts, but for the economies. Everything's not looking good. Yeah, I suppose, you know, lowering the magnitude of the rate hikes is actually a good thing. That's right. That's correct. But it's done that for a reason. It's done that because these rate hikes aren't sustainable. It hasn't done that because we've reached our inflationary targets. It's worrying. It's worrying. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Well, I'm going to do a poll, actually. I think it'll be interesting. I want to see what you guys think about Bitcoin right now. We'll do a live poll. Do you think the Bitcoin bottom is in? This is a poll I usually do every week on my YouTube community page, but I'm going to do it here on the live stream right now. Bang. Should be loading up there. Vote in that poll. I'll leave it up for a few minutes. Vote in that poll. Netherlands inflation month on month was 17%. Yeah, crazy, man. Europe's getting destroyed. Europe is really getting destroyed. I'm very worried about the state of Europe specifically. You know, I think that if World War III, I don't think World War III is going to happen in a conventional foots in the ground warfare kind of thing, obviously. But I think if something like that, some sort of, you could argue we're already in a Cold War, but if some exaggerated Cold War went on, it would start in the European winter. You know, when Russia potentially starts cutting off the rest of their gas supplies to Europe, Europe's going to crumble, man. It's going to crumble. You know, and so this is the thing, right? It's like, well, how does Russia lose? How does Russia lose, okay? And you might argue, okay, Russia loses by getting pushed out of Ukraine. And it's like, well, no, that's not necessarily the loss, right? Because if you're Putin, what can you do? You can say, even if you lose the war in a conventional sense, you can still claim victory in the sense that, hey, you know, we didn't win in Ukraine, but we sure as hell punished those Europeans. We sure as hell punished the West. That could be a win. And if they win in Ukraine, obviously they won if they win in Ukraine in a military standpoint. That's a win, obviously. But even if they don't win, even if they get pushed out, they can still claim, you know what? We punished the West. We showed them that Russia's standing for what it stands for, and you know we showed them that Russia is strong, and it's not a force to be reckoned with. So there's no loss for Russia. There's a massive loss for the West though, because the West can get crushed, literally crushed. You know what's going to happen when electricity prices in Europe are already 6 times higher right now in Germany, for example, than they were last year. What's going to happen in European winter when Russia cuts off the rest of the gas supply? Those prices are going to go somewhere between 11 and 12 times higher than what they were last year. How are people going to pay their bills? They're not. And what does that lead? When people are broke, what happens? It leads to revolts. It leads to turmoil. It leads to, you know, riots against the government. It leads to all this kind of thing. It's gonna be a mad situation. If there needs to be a solution, preferably before December. Otherwise, this is going to spiral completely out of control. You know, I'm very worried about the situation in Europe. I really am. What do you guys think about it? Germany's printing money as well, are they? Is Germany back to quantitative easing? I didn't know that. If they are, that's very bad. It's bad news. It's expected, but it's bad news. What implications do you forecast for crypto ecosystem if the West does ditch the dollar for central bank digital currencies? It's hard to say, and the reason why it's hard to say is because I don't know, and I don't even think they know what it would entail. How do you make that transition? That's what we don't know. They haven't disclosed that information. I don't actually think they know what that is yet. Or maybe they're keeping it behind closed doors. We have no way to know how will they transition everyone collectively from fiat over to central bank digital currencies. How will that work? You know, there's going to be a massive loss of wealth if that does happen. And it might be a last resort, you know, so we don't know. We just simply don't know. And that's worrying because we don't know anything. We are in the dark here, you know. The frequency of rate rise has been quicker than ever. Surely it drops off just as quick. Generally that's generally the case. You know, you have to remember the Federal Reserve and central banks in general, when they're rising rates, they're trying to predict the future. Rates take a long time to come into effect. I think it's like somewhere between like three to 6 months. They take a long time to come into full effect. So they're basically saying when they're raising or lowering interest rates, they're like, okay, this is a reflection of our reaction to inflation 3 to 6 months from now. So if they're starting to bring it down, it means that they're pretty comfortable with where it's going to be at in 3 to 6 months from now. Bitcoin dropped to 8K. Could do, man. Could do. I don't necessarily think it's likely. I've made very clear my points in the past regarding 11K Bitcoin and 13.8K Bitcoin, and we can look into that. You know, I'll show you why that is. You know, historically, and if we're going off historical data, which we have to go off historical data, really. Historically, the Q4 bottom is a thing, right? That's the historical data. That's the strongest historical data we have in Bitcoin, Q4 bottom. And that's going to be between now and December. So we look at what's going to happen between now and December in terms of time frame. Now and we'll say January 1st in terms of time frame. That is that much time. Until this pink dashed line, that's how long we have. So do you think we will drop? And this is the question you have to ask yourself. And, you know, if you disagree with this, you disagree with the 4-year cycle theory, I suppose. And that's fine. Some people do, right? Do you think we'll drop on Bitcoin 53% in the next 3 months? That's the question you have to ask yourself if we think we're going to 8K. 53% in 3 months. It's happened before, okay? It's happened recently, but from this current level, it would take something very, very major for that to happen. I think that most of the selling has been done, And I genuinely think the lowest we can go is this green box here, which is this historical sideways support zone. That's just me. Bitcoin is being looked at more and more as a monetary alternative. Volatility coming, I believe we will swipe 18K and then send up only. If I was to choose a scenario, if I was to pick a scenario, I would say the most likely scenario, in my opinion, would be a double bottom at that 17.6K level. That's what I would. If I was had to at gunpoint choose a scenario, that's what I'd say. I think there is a chance we go down to the green box, but given what's happening, especially in the last few days with the UK and potentially Germany as well, according to someone in the chat, switching back to QE, the probability of a 50 basis point hike instead of a 75 basis point hike increasing in the US in the next rate hike decision. Yeah, I would agree with you, man. I think the argument that, we have to go down further because of the macro is becoming weaker and weaker. I think it is. I think it's genuinely becoming weaker and weaker. The macro is not, for the I'm speaking about the markets. I'm not speaking about the everyday person. It's very important to distinguish that. The macro in relation to the markets is only getting better. It's only getting better as of current. That's right. Russia will put out and say we left Ukraine in ruins. Russia will take that as a win. Exactly. 100% they will. They will take it as a win. I don't see a scenario here in which Russia loses. I don't. How can they lose? They can't lose. They'll flip the narrative. The narrative is always questioning. You saw, for example, the other day, they did a referendum in Ukraine. Now, it's obviously rigged. It's obviously a rigged referendum. But they went around in Ukrainian cities that have been conquered by Russia, and they asked the Ukrainian people, basically, do you want to, join Russia? Do you want to, be annexed into Russia? And basically, according to them, 80% of people said yes. So, again, I doubt that. I doubt the validity of that. But the point is, they're already building narratives. They're already building up that narrative, right? So even if they get pushed out, they can say, well, we devastated the West, and Ukraine wants to be with us, so they're going to remain a claim to Ukraine. You know what I mean? Hard to explain. I'm not a military strategist, man. I'm just some dude. But, I've been doing some research. I used to pay $200 a month or €200 a month for energy. Now 1,250. Minimum wage here is 950. This is what I mean. You can't even afford it, man. People can't afford this. Read that. This guy paid. I think your name's Sylvan. Sorry. Apologies for the pronunciation, but he paid €200 a month for energy. Now it's €1,250 a month for energy. Right? Again, that is a 6x increase in prices. And minimum wage in his country is €950 a month. How are people meant to live? That's only energy, not including rent, not including food, not including transport. How are people meant to live? They can't. What's the alternative? Crime. Crime is the alternative. That's the only alternative these people have. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Yeah, and you see people, you guys would have seen on Twitter, people standing around and fires and burning their energy bills. It's well, what else are they meant to do? They can't pay for it. It's not even really their fault. They're just in the country. Just a couple more solar panels on your roof. Grab a couple windmills and put them in your backyard. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that's right. I mean, I assume you're being, I assume you're joking there, but yeah, that you can't do that. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can buy solar panels and chuck up a massive 100-meter windmill in their backyard next to the picketed fence. It's crazy, man. Would love to put some small windmills up, but the government restricts it. Yeah, of course. 18 months in the future, Germany fiscal policy was €200 billion energy relief legislation. Yeah, crazy. I'm 30, building a house. So, garage 30. Oh, okay. Building a house and some building materials are already unavailable. I'm almost laughed at when asking when they show up. It's crazy how factories are shut down or there already. Yeah. Can you make an analysis on Bitcoin now and Amazon when it drops 95% on 2000s? Okay, so you're referring to that fractal. There is a fractal going around that I will put up on my second screen here because a lot of people have wanted me to look at this in the past, and I will grab this. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off the screen capture and I'll grab that fractal. There is a fractal on Amazon that relates to Bitcoin. I don't agree with the fractal. I think fractals are hit or miss at best. Amazon Bitcoin fractal. Now, I don't actually have it on my charts. I'm trying to get a Google image, which is why I'm hiding my screen here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, to be honest, but I'll try my best. Here we go. Can bring my screen back up. Might be on this website. So yeah, so this is the fractal you're referring to, right? So this is the Amazon chart. This chart here, this is the Amazon chart. I wonder if I can copy this image and actually put it next to Bitcoin. And I'll delete this 4-year cycle chart quickly. And I'll paste this in. And you can see the similarities here already. So this is Amazon in the 2000s. Okay, this top screen here, this is a pretty interesting chart, by the way. Thanks for recommending it. This is an Amazon chart from the 2000s. And this is Bitcoin from 2017. As you can see, Amazon copied Bitcoin quite closely. We had the same kind of top scenario here, same rounding out scenario, same scenario here to the sideways, and same bull market scenario. And then we've had a sharp correction on Amazon. And if I actually had the perfect fractal up, I could say that fractal, I don't have the exact fractal, but it does bring us somewhere very low on Bitcoin. I don't exactly remember where it is. And then the theory is that after that, we see a V-shaped recovery, like we saw here on Amazon, okay, and we just go upwards. And, that fractal might have a bit of validity now, because as we see, for example, potentially governments, central banks shifting back to quantitative easing and printing, billions of dollars upon billions of dollars, we could see V-shaped recovery in the market, an abnormal V-shaped recovery. It could happen. But generally speaking, I don't trust fractals. That's just generally, I don't trust fractals, because fractals barely ever play out perfectly. Barely ever. But it is obviously relatively compelling. I mean, you can't tell me that's not a compelling fractal. It's pretty compelling. It's not perfect, but it is, pretty good. Let's see the comments here. I am a home builder, and timber and concrete is up 500% over the last 2 years in Australia. Yeah, crazy. I was looking at building a house late last year. No, not late last year. Probably early this year. And even by that point, it was ridiculous. And it pushed me away from the idea. Also, the wait times are just insane. Getting a builder, I know at least at that point, I don't know if it's changed now, I haven't looked into it too much, but at least early 2022, getting a builder and getting someone to go through the designing phase with you and getting all that kind of stuff, it's just ridiculous. Like, you have to wait months and months. So, yeah. Supply chain issues, I suppose. I don't believe Powell will pivot and bring QE, maybe just pause the rate hikes, potentially. I don't know either. I don't think anyone can really predict it, man. I don't think it's actually something that's predictable. I just don't think it is predictable. Unless you're a full-blown economist, I don't think it's something we can predict. I think it's something we need to be aware of. People like to compare the current crash. People like to compare the current crash of the Nasdaq and the S&P to previous crashes, but the market caps were way different than now. I don't see a negative 50% like we used to. I agree. I think, and that's the problem with fractals, right? They're not relative to market cap, but they are relative to market psychology. So they are valid in their own sense, but they are relatively unreliable, of course. I've got a feeling that cyclical nature of Bitcoin will continue to play out despite what may come with the Great Reset. Are you structuring your long-term investment with these things in mind? I am structuring my long-term investment with these things in mind. Look, I don't want to talk about this stuff on the live stream, okay? Too much. It's very risky. But I do see some of these things that have been proposed by people who are generally silenced by the government as pretty certain. I think to disagree with them, especially central bank digital currencies, which they've literally admitted is happening, which is part of what you said, the Great Reset, to see that as not something that's going to happen is ridiculous. So yes, I am structuring my long-term investments with that in mind, and I'm not going to say anything more about it. Let me just ban someone in the chat here. Some bot. It's not actually someone, it's just a bot. I think your researching the Ukraine conflict needs more work because your understanding of the situation is very flawed, mate. Yeah, it could be. Look, I don't know. I'm not from Europe. But all I understand the economical situation quite well. But if you're talking about the actual war, yeah, I'm not claiming to be an expert on that by any means. I'm a trader. I'm not, a geopolitical expert, and I don't try to be. Wolf, considering a lot of governments will be moving to central bank digital currencies, wouldn't you invest heavily in tokens that are involved in central bank digital currencies, i.e. XRP, Algo, HBAR, and QNT? Yes, so this is something I've been asked before. I know that Algo works very closely in developing central bank digital currencies. That's something someone said on the live stream, I think 2 weeks ago, something like that. Not a live stream, a video comment. And, that's a valid point. It is a valid point. But who's to say that will continue? There's just too many questions. Like, who's to say that they will allow those companies to continue working? Who's to say? Because they do develop, those companies, yes, they help out, whatever. They are in a decentralized cryptocurrency space. So in order to invest in those, cryptocurrencies, you have to use exchanges, based in cryptocurrency that, under the scenario in which governments would introduce central bank digital currencies, will be illegal exchanges. So they're heavily involved in cryptocurrency in a decentralized fashion. I don't know. I think that the best thing you can do really is decentralize your net worth. I don't think that what you should be doing right now is investing in many centralized, even XRP, Algo, HBAR, QNT. They're great technology. There's no denying that. But I think that, the objective here should be to understand the fact that, there's something going on here, and we need to be able to avoid as much as we can to do with that system. But again, you make some good points, and I'll have to look into it. I definitely do need to look into XRP, Algo, HBAR, QNT. I do need to, because, as you said, if they're working with central bank digital currencies, that's a very good point. You made a very good point there. Don't do it. Adzi says don't do it in regards to me building a house. Yeah, look, I'm not going to do it anymore, but I was looking at it earlier this year. Now it's a 2-year contract to build a standard house in Australia. Yeah, no, it's crazy. That's why I didn't do it. It's insane. What are your predictions for upcoming CPI? My predictions for upcoming CPI are lower. I think CPI will come in lower. Yeah. I think it will come in lower. I think people are kind of overhyping about CPI a little bit. Oil prices are in a very, very strong down. Why is my chart in logarithmic? In fact, let me get back to the real chart. Here we go. Take that off logarithmic and put it back to the daily. Oil prices are in a strong downtrend. They've been downtrending since June. You'll remember that in June, actually the day after CPI released in June, that's when inflation actually topped out, at least locally, if I'm wrong. And that is the day that oil prices began to decrease. And since then, we've been in a strong downwards trend on oil prices. That's a good example of how inflation could be decreasing. We've also seen the United States Federal Reserve, not necessarily the Federal Reserve, but the market more accurately, I should say, predicting those basis point hikes to come in at a lower magnitude progressively starting in November, which would be indicative of the fact that the inflationary pressures are decreasing in the United States, and hence measures to combat inflation might start to decrease as well. I think that, yes, inflation has topped out. That would be my prediction on inflation. But again, if they start quantitative easing, that's completely invalid. That's assuming they continue with QT, which is a big assumption, as we've seen in the last few days with the UK. Lots of nice overpriced homes out there, but hardly anything. But hard to accept you'll never really own it. Yeah. I know amongst my age group. I don't know how old are you guys? Put in your chat. How old are you guys? I'm interested. What's your guys' age, right? How old are you guys, roughly? I want to see a rough average. I'm going to assume the rough average is like 35. That seems like a pretty good assumption to make here. Because I know in my age group, right? My age group, it's completely just, it's a dream. It's a fantasy, getting a house. Absolute fantasy for the vast majority of my peers. Especially if you're not self-employed. 33, 34, 17, we got a youngster in here. 16, another youngster, 50, 30. Yeah, so rough age is 30, 35-ish. Yeah. It's very different. It's very different. These old methods that the quote-unquote, I hate saying this word, boomers are used to acquire wealth, completely gone, out the window. You can't use them. They're outdated methods. Completely outdated methods. I wanted to bring up my schedule here. What are the ages? 47, 24, 47, 35. How old am I? I'm not going to disclose that for personal reasons. I don't want someone showing up at my house. I'm trying to give out as little personal information as possible. You can probably guess. Okay? I'm in my 20s. Yeah, so I wanted to jump into one more thing here. And that is Gale. And I do have a couple of reaction videos I want to make today in this live stream. And they are, of course, actually, I'll leave it for a surprise. It's very, very, very distinguished analysts who should be respected in the utmost regard, of course. Very distinguished analysts who put shouting faces in their thumbnails. 60, 41, 29, 65. Deep is guessing I'm 28. Hey Wolf, I'm 57, and I'm thinking about my boys. I care about them. Thoughts on commodities. If the Fed pivots... Wait, let's go back to that one. Hey Wolf, I'm 57, I think about my boys. Okay, I assume you mean your sons? Yeah, and look. It's tough, man. And given the way it's going and the shift to central bank digital currencies, really the only way out really is self-employment, or at least trying to get involved in the markets, because as we've seen in 2020 and 2021, the markets are really one of the only ways out. You know, these markets they're money printers when the Fed is in a scenario in which they're printing money. It's really is just a free money generator when they're printing cash, and all it does is really make the rich who are involved in the markets a lot richer, and the people who aren't involved in the markets, who are your everyday common Joe, fall behind. You know, it's crazy. It's very much a system that's in place here, and that's designed, literally designed to keep people in their place. You know, who makes money when the market goes up? It's the people who have enough money to have money in the markets. So it's the richer people. And who gets negatively affected by the markets pumping due to quantitative easing? It's the people who, have to worry about the price of bread. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. Is this Moonboy Carl or MM Crypto? I think you guessed one of them. I have two analysts I want to look at. And I promise I will be looking at serious analysts as well, okay? I don't want to just, and look, Crypto Crew University, he's a serious analyst. I like that guy. I genuinely do like his analysis. He's a serious analyst. I take him very seriously, okay? But, I will be doing a bit of a comedic one today. I genuinely want to see what MM Crypto says. I want to see what he says. I haven't watched one of his videos in a long period of time. All I've done is really look at his thumbnails. I want to see what he has to say. Maybe I'm misguided. Maybe he has some really hot knowledge to drop on the markets. Could do. Did you see the Aussie central bank digital currency announcement yesterday? I did not. I was very busy yesterday. I'm actually going to look at that right now. Again, I'm going to turn my screen off for 2 seconds. I'll be right back with you. This is important news that has been brought to my attention. Australia central bank digital currency. Oh, here we go. Look, here we go. It begins. It's not a coincidence, guys. It begins. Oh, wow. This is crazy. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, my friend. Look at that. Let me bring my chat back up so I can see what you guys are saying. Australia gears up for state-backed digital currency trials. Nah, that's crazy, man. I'm telling you, as soon as the UK shifts to quantitative easing, as soon as Germany shifts to quantitative easing, they start talking about central bank digital currencies because they think that fiat, they're starting to understand, hey, wait a second. Maybe this is unsustainable. Maybe we need to bail and abandon ship. Potentially, they could be abandoning ship. The Great Reset, they talk about it all the time. They've been talking about it for years now. This could be the moment. They start to abandon the ship. They start, and what they'll do, and this is my theory, if they do this, which is impossible to predict, by the way, what they'll do is they'll go to quantitative easing, like they've been doing. They'll pump the markets until central bank digital currencies are ready, and then they'll release them. So give it like 2 years, 3 years of complete decimation and debasement of fiat as they pump the markets to oblivion. And then inflation reaches like 30%, and then they'll release central bank digital currencies and make a shift. I don't know, look, if I was them, and I was concerned with control, and I understood that fiat was dead, what is the alternative? What is the alternative for them? I don't know. This is all yabba, obviously. Good morning, mate. It's not morning here, but good morning to wherever you are. I assume you're in... it wouldn't be the US. It would be... Unless you're awake at like 3 a.m., it wouldn't be the US. Are you awake at 3 a.m.? You're in Europe somewhere, right? I don't know. What is your opinion on Gareth Soloway? Don't really have any strong opinions. Given the insidious nature of central bank digital currencies and what appears to be a groundswell narrative, what appears to be a groundswell and narrative in making people aware of what's happening behind the scenes, what do you consider the possibility of stopping it? I don't know what a groundswell is, but I know what you mean. What do I consider the possibility of stopping it? Basically zero. How can we stop it? They have a complete dominance in the media. They can control the narrative in any way they find. There's no way of stopping it. There would be a small percentage of the population who is free enough to stand up against it, but they will be immediately crushed by criticism from every single media platform in existence, convincing people that they're wrong. We can't stop it. The only way to stop it is to try your best to protect yourself, and I think having a percentage of your income your wealth in decentralized options is the way to go, and possibly getting another passport sorted out. Like that's something we need to start considering doing. Maybe get a passport sorted out, and if it all goes wrong, you might consider abandoning ship and getting out of the country. It sounds ridiculous. I can't believe I'm saying stuff like this. It sounds ridiculous. If you asked me a year ago if I'd be saying stuff like this, I'd look at you and think you were crazy, but it really is getting bad, man. It really is getting bad. It's not getting bad, it's just getting scary. Yes, and an ex-Ripple head honcho is helping the Reserve Bank of Australia with it. Hint, hint. Yeah, okay. All right, so this is where you come in with the XRP. Yeah, I need to look into it, my friend. I do need to look into it. I appreciate you letting me know about that. It could be interesting investment opportunity, potentially. I do know as well, though, it is worth noting that when coins work with big corporations or central banks, whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to go up. WAN Chain is a perfect example of that from the bear market, from the bull market in 2021. They worked with State Grid Corporation of China, which is the third largest company in the world by gross annual revenue, and third most, I think it's like the fourth most employees from a corporation in the world. They worked with them, and the price didn't move. It didn't move. So just because something is happening fundamentally doesn't necessarily lead to price action, but regardless of that, it is definitely worth checking out for sure. Combank and Grayscale beta testing now gone quiet. That is a shame. We should adopt crypto commercially in Australia. I would release a central bank digital currency first to welfare, then to disaster relief, followed by handout for vouchers. Then it would be seamless. Yeah, so you're referring to if you were the government, or the central bank, I should say. Okay, anyway, I'm going to get into a trading signal in a second. I will be back in just 2 seconds here, guys. Just going to go get a drink. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'll put my be right back screen up. Here we go. I'll just be back in 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Back in business. See what the poll results were. When do you think the bottom is in on Bitcoin? 32% said yes, 68% said no. Yeah, that's pretty consistent with what usually happens on my channel. It's pretty consistent. I want to do another poll, actually. I want to do another poll. Let me see. Do you see central bank digital currencies as a threat? Here we go. This should be an interesting one. Go vote in that poll there. I'm interested to see your guys' opinions. I've seen some interesting counter arguments. One of my friends, I don't know, in my personal life, is all for it. He loves it. He loves the idea, which is interesting, and he's got some good points. It's not like he's got bad points. It's just I think that the bad outweighs the good. With central bank digital currencies, they would have the ability to control, inflation a lot better. They would, they'd be able to mint new. They could burn, right? So that's not something they can't do right now. If they print money right now, it's there forever, right? They can burn central bank digital currency tokens. That's something they can do. So they can control inflation better. So if it's used correctly, it realistically could be a good thing. But do we trust them? That's the main thing. Do we trust them? It's all about trust. And I don't think so, man. I think when there is potential for something to be exploited, it is inevitable that eventually it will be exploited. It might be used correctly for 10 years, but maybe one day something happens. Someone gets in power, someone starts exploiting it. Cool. It could be good for 50 years, but eventually it will be exploited. Eventually it will be exploited. That's the thing with centralization. Eventually, centralization, over-centralization will be exploited. Sometimes it works well, and it could work well for a long period of time. It's just the one day that it doesn't, it all goes south and everything collapses. That's my thoughts on it. We've got 20% of people said no, which is interesting. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that. I'm open to every kind of opinion. I'm very much into free discussion. If you said no, tell me why. Tell me why you don't think it's a threat to freedom. I'm very interested. Block my screen for a second. I highly recommend all of you go and watch my video I did on central bank digital currencies around a week ago. It was an interesting video. And I discussed... It was actually a reaction video to another popular video that someone else did. And I discussed how they're programmable, which means that they can essentially turn off your money at any point in time. And they can restrict what you buy. They can put quotas on things, etc. If they disagree with what you do, whatever, your employer sees something, you went somewhere they don't like, they can just turn off your ability to buy bread. Which is worrying. And it's not like they do that, I'm just saying it. Since it's possible, it is something we need to consider. Alright, let's see what people said here. Too much control is never good when it's not in your hands. Correct. Here is the US. Okay. Here in the US, it wouldn't be used in a bad way. It's not China. Okay, so that's someone who said no. I know where you're coming from. But you have to understand that, and this is my opinion as well, I'm just, speaking, that what's the difference between the US and China? We're all human beings. We all have the same desire for power. Just because they're in a country that already had, that over-centralization occur, doesn't mean we can't do that. We can't follow in their footsteps. Central bank digital currencies are the perfect platform to social credit systems. And as you would know, social credit systems are a fundamental part of what makes China a controlling society. So there's one thing. I think central bank digital currencies are actually the step towards being more like China. That's my opinion, though. Are you on Rumble? I'm not on Rumble right now. In fact, you would have seen before, I was watching a video from a certain man who has been exiled to Rumble. I'm always interested to see what people have to say. I don't agree with him at all, to be honest. But I'm interested in what people have to say. I'm very anti-censorship. I think most people in cryptocurrency are anti-censorship. But I'm not on Rumble at this point in time. I will definitely I don't know if I'll be starting a Rumble account. Look, the thing with Rumble is this, right? It's never going to be the same. It's never going to be as big as YouTube. If I advertise Rumble on my channel, no one's really going to sign up to Rumble. No one really cares that much. You know, people care about anti-censorship, but they don't really care enough to actually do anything about it. Like, they don't actually care about to sign up, make a Rumble account and everything. But, you know, maybe a small percentage of people will. But then I also need to consider the fact that if I sign up to Rumble, I also need to spend like an extra 30 minutes per day uploading my content over there, and most likely I'm going to get like 3 viewers on it. It's very difficult. If I get banned on YouTube, which I don't think it's going to happen, okay? Maybe not anytime soon. You know, maybe when crypto's a little bit more outlawed, yeah, maybe. But like anytime, no, I don't think so. I don't think it will happen anytime soon. If I do, though, we've got my Telegram group, and I can you know, push you guys in the right direction through there. And for people who are actually supporters of the channel and actually are big fans of the channel, they will find me. They will find me. Okay, I want to actually get into my trading signal here. I'm going to remove this Be Right Back screen. I don't know why that's still up there. I'm still pretty new to live streaming, guys, so bear with me. I do make mistakes. I leave screens up for too long. I go live at the wrong points. I was live 10 minutes early today, and my other live stream link glitched. You guys would have seen that. I need to get a little bit better at it. In fact, I need to get a new monitor. But I want to get a trading signal going here. We've got one. Okay, so trading signal starting in 3, 2, 1, guys. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another trading signal. We've got GAL here today, which is GAL. Before we get into GAL, I want to take a look at some of the other trading signals that we've released on the channel that are still pending, waiting for activation. And the following signals are as such: ADA, BNB, Algo, CHZ, Link, and XEM. Now, the reason why I'm pointing these out is because these are trading signals that have not activated yet. These are trading signals that you will find the videos for in my previous uploads that you can still watch, you can still chart up and analyze, and when they break out, you can still potentially enter them and make some money. So again, that's ADA, BNB, Algo, CHZ, Link, and XEM. They're still waiting for activation, and you can still chart those up. But without further ado here, I want to get into GAL, which is GAL or GAL, depending on your pronunciation of the coin itself. So GAL essentially has this triangular formation. It hasn't been around for too long. That's something that's worth noting. We're on the daily chart here. Realistically, you could analyze this thing on the 4-hourly chart. That would probably be more appropriate from when you're trading. But from an analyst perspective, right, from a where we're drawing the lines, etc., how we're getting the lines correctly, the daily chart is probably the way to go about that. So what we have here on GAL is 4 horizontal red lines and 5 horizontal lines in total. Okay, one of them is yellow. And as you guys would know, yellow represents a breakout point and red represents a take profit point. So that simplifies things already. We've got these lines at, for example, you know, and these are where the lines are, so you can chart these up where I've got them. $2.15, $3.32, $2.83, $3.04, and $3.41. Those are the horizontal lines. We've also got a uptrending support line stemming from the wick here. Right, I'm going to make it pink so you guys can see it just for the time being. Stemming from the wick here on May the 11th, through to the wick on the 18th of June, through to the wicks here in August and September. And if we move that across, we extend it across and we'll make it yellow again because it is a breakout line. We've also got this line here, this horizontal line you drew in at $2.32 will be made yellow. It is a horizontal breakout line. And then, of course, we have the top part of the triangle. It kind of forms a triangular structure, which is stemming from the wick on the 31st of July, through to the wick here on the 10th of September, through to the wick on the 23rd of September. That will leave you with this structure here on GAL. And it resembles kind of like a major, you know, massive one big symmetrical triangle formation and then a bunch of different support and resistance lines. And, you know, the trading signal is very simple just based off that, because it means, and this is why I'm interested in it for the main part, right? It means that we will be reaching an apex on this triangle at around the 13th of October, meaning that by the 13th of October, we will have to make a move either up or down, meaning that before the 13th of October, this trade will become profitable in one of the given scenarios. And the scenarios are as follows. If we break to the upside, you'd enter a long position or short or spot position, I should say, or long position depending on your risk tolerance, and you take the trade to any of these upper resistance levels. And if we enter for the short position, you'd wait for a break to the downside of both of these lower yellow lines. Both of those would need to be broken to the downside. And you take a short position to the range low, which is at $2.15, this lower level line here. So again, just clarifying, you know, for a break to the upside, You'd enter on the break to the upside of a triangle. You'd take profits at either one of these red levels, depending on where the market is going, depending on your risk tolerance, etc. And for the short position, wait for a break of the triangle and the horizontal level, both the yellow lines, and take a trade to $2.15. Now, is there anything major in regards to moving averages, in regards to RSI, etc. that's interesting on this trade? Not necessarily. And I do this on purpose. I pick trades that don't really have anything major going on. The reason I do that is because it keeps it simple, and you want simplicity. This trade, this coin hasn't been around long enough for us to have any significant, for example, moving averages or anything like that really come up as prevalent. The RSI and the MACD are very, very new. They're not really showing us really too much, meaning the trade is very simple. The only thing we have is the 50-day SMA, and we would break that to the upside if we were to enter the long position anyway. So it's good to go. So that's the trade signal. Very simple, break triangle, go up. Very simple, break triangle, go down. So thanks for watching, guys. And we're back to the live stream. My throat's a little bit croaky. Chris says descending triangle / head and shoulders. Yeah, it certainly does look like a descending triangle. The only reason I didn't say it was a descending triangle is because if you remove the horizontal line, this uptrending line actually turns it into a symmetrical formation. So it's not necessarily a descending triangle, but it does look like one. I know what you mean. And it does kind of look like a head and shoulders. It also kind of looks like a double bottom though. And that's why we've got that long scenario. Because if it does go up, right, we've got a bottom here and a bottom here, and it very well could go up as well. So we've got both scenarios there just in case. But these trades have been pretty profitable, guys. They've been pretty profitable. Good to see. We had a massive sudden drop in viewership about 30 seconds ago from 72 to 32. It seems like there must have been some sort of crash there. Perhaps my internet wasn't very good. Because that's not natural. I think... Are we being attacked by the Matrix? I'm joking. Let's read some comments. And just an update on that poll. 85% of people said central bank digital currencies are a threat to freedom. 15% of people said it is not a threat to freedom, which is interesting. Okay, so 15% of people think that central bank digital currencies are not a threat to freedom. And out of the 50 votes we'd had, that means around seven people out of the 50 votes think that central bank digital currencies are not a threat to freedom. I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts on that. If you said no, please let me know why. I'm interested to hear. And we're going to get into a reaction video in a second here, guys. But I do want to read some comments first. If you have any very specific, very important questions you want me to answer, go ahead and chuck in a super chat. It can be like 90 cents. I don't really care how much. 50 cents. Far out. What's the minimum? Something like that. It just puts it on my screen so I see it straight away. It's if it's an important question that you really want answered, because there are a lot of comments and I can't answer them all. So if you really want a question answered, just go ahead and do that. But we'll try to get through some of them. So let's see what we got here. SwiftX, which is an exchange in Australia, has confirmed a central bank digital currency trial in Australia. Yeah, they have. We looked into that about 10 minutes ago. And the US has done the same thing. In fact, the US is going to have their trial in July 2023. So that's next year, around, 10 months? Very, very close. Not very long away. Central bank digital currency means total control. Imagine the current world, but far worse. I agree. I think it is very controlling. I think it's over-centralization. I think it's an attempt at socialism, to be honest with you. I genuinely think it is. I think they will use central bank digital currency globally somehow to get out of the mess we are in, maybe reset everything financially. Yeah, of course, the Great Reset. That's why they call it the Great Reset. They say that for a reason. They've been saying it since 2020. And that's why I made a big point in this live stream. I think, I can't be certain. No one can be certain, right? So no one can be certain. But I think that potentially the shift back to quantitative easing might be an indicator that they're abandoning the fiat ship and they're getting ready to shift into central bank digital currencies in the future. They will print as much money as possible to keep everything afloat in the meantime. And then they'll make the switch. The Great Reset. I don't know. I think all projects launched on chain should be doxed and voted upon by the community whether to launch the project or not. I think some sort of entity is needed for regulation. Yeah, we definitely do need regulation. And this goes back to a bigger point. I know that's not exactly what you're talking about, but regulation is needed to some extent, okay? We do need regulation. Without regulation, society collapses. You need regulation. You just can't have excessive regulation. All these scumbags like, oh, I don't want to get banned, man. All these people like Moonboy Kyle, BitBoy, and Lark should be regulated as well. Crypto space is disgusting in that regard. It's just the free market, man. You know, that's just how it is. It's just the free market. You know, if people want to listen to them, they will listen to them. At the end of the day, they're not particularly good analysts. They're good marketers, and you know that's what capitalism is. And all respect to capitalism, I love capitalism. I partake in a career that is solely based in capitalism, but that's what it is. Sometimes capitalism has effects like that in which people flock to things that aren't necessarily beneficial. But it's the free market, you know, and what's the alternative? So yeah, as much as I dislike the analysis that Moonboy Kyle provides, I think that he should be allowed to be in the space, 100%. Why would it be a threat when you'll still have... Okay, so here's a good one. Why would it be a threat when you'll still have decentralized part of cryptocurrency? Why can't we have both centralized and decentralized? Won't it be a huge benefit? Won't it be huge for investments if crypto gets regulated? Okay, so this is a very important point. Okay, what you need to understand, okay? Rudy, I don't know the pronunciation of your name. Central bank digital currencies will put the central banks and the governments in a position to ban cryptocurrency. So you might say, oh, well, wouldn't it be better if we have both? But the point is, if you have central bank digital currencies, you can automatically take the standpoint as a government that any other cryptocurrency is a direct assault on your government-regulated cryptocurrency. And since by that point you would have indoctrinated the population to agree with central bank digital currencies, everyone would agree with you, and you could easily take down, crypto from a legal standpoint. Easily. And it would be in your best interest to do so. Because if you're going that far to centralize everything, why would you allow a decentralized financial system like cryptocurrency to be around? Crypto will always exist, okay? Don't get it mixed up. Crypto will always exist, but it won't always be legal. And I 100% see that as fundamentally and categorically true. Crypto will always exist, crypto will always be used, but there's no way on this earth that crypto will always be legal in the West. No chance. No chance. Let me know if you disagree. By the way, guys, I'm going to put another poll in. This should be an interesting one. I've put a poll in the chat. Make sure to answer that one. I think that'll be interesting. I think I could, have some good discussions with another person on the live streams. Maybe. Depends who it is, of course. We can get Whale on. We can get Mega Whale Crypto on the live streams. That'll be interesting. Yeah, Crypto Savvy's video. Yeah, I'm not reacting to that today, but I did watch a part of it because I saw, I don't know if it was you or someone else, they linked it in the, I asked a question, what do you want me to react to? I was scouting through it, and yeah, he thinks the 4-year cycle is linked to presidential cycles. Could very well be, but the point is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it is or not. The point is, it is a 4-year cycle. But I would say it's not, because if you look at it, the 4-year cycle is linked to presidential cycles in the sense that Bitcoin bottoms out as per the presidential cycles. But you're kind of ignoring the fact that the halving leads to a bull run. How does that play into the presidential cycle? You know, the halving, after the halving, there's a bull run. So I don't know. That doesn't really play into it. So yeah, I think the 4-year cycle is based on Bitcoin, not the presidential cycles for that reason. Again, I'll explain that a little bit clearer actually, because I think that's a very important point to make in a response. And I think this could actually be a response video in itself. But I will respond to that video, perhaps in the next live stream. I've deleted my 4-year cycle chart. Oh, don't tell me. Far out, man. See if I can bring it back up. That's unfortunate. I'm going to have to draw it back up. Point is, I deleted my 4-year cycle chart, but again, I'll draw it back up. Take 5 minutes. But the point is, the halving occurs, every 4 years, whatever, around the middle of a year, every 4 years. That leads to a bull run. So yeah, I don't think it's related to presidential cycles, because presidential cycles would only predict, in that scenario, the bottoms on Bitcoin. What about the bull run, though? So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Classic live stream error. Just deleted my most important chart. I'm telling you, man, live streams aren't easy stuff. Yeah, there's no chance I'm getting that one back up. Oh well. I think I might have a copy of it. Nah. Oh well. Alright, well, a few more questions here, then we'll get into the reaction video. Go check out Crypto Savvy's videos. You will like to disagree with all his takes. Maybe I would. G'day, Wolf. Thoughts on Ron Walker's most recent video? I'm not sure. I haven't watched it, unfortunately. What do you think about... Hey, do you want to take a look at BIT? It's Bybit's token. Massive long setup. Bybit is an exchange, of course. We can check it out. Is this the one? I feel like that's not the one. Maybe it is. Are you referring to... immediately I can see this. Are you referring to this? That's what I see just straight off the bat. In which case, yeah, you'd be correct. That is a pretty nice structure setting up. However, I have no idea what this coin is. I don't know if it's anything to do with what you asked. It could just be a random coin. I suppose we'll look at coin market cap. BIT. Yeah, nothing really comes up when I type up... Yeah, nothing comes up, unfortunately. Anyway, there's a free signal for a random coin, if anyone's interested. A few more questions. We'll get into reaction in a second. %17% inflation in September for the Netherlands. Yeah, I checked that out before. Crazy stuff, guys. 17% inflation. Insanity. Before every live stream I do post a community post on YouTube where I ask for reaction video recommendations, and I have already done that today. So before the next one, go ahead and chuck in. If you've got reaction recommendations for me, just chuck it in before, because I do want to make I don't watch the videos, but I do make sure that they're actual proper videos, not just something that I'm just gonna mock. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to sit here and just talk trash. I think in order for people to be interested in it as well, they need to be analysts of a certain follower level. So that, for example, today I'm looking at Moonboy Carl, mainly as a joke, but it could be interesting. And it's because he's very well known. People know who he is, so they're interested in it. I see Bitcoin competing with gold, not fiat. I 100% agree with you, Jay. I couldn't agree with you more. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a competitor to gold, not fiat. I couldn't agree more with that. People get it. I think people get it mixed up a lot in cryptocurrency. They think Bitcoin's going to be this global transaction currency. Everyone uses it when they go into the markets. It's like, no, I don't think so, man. And by the markets, I mean the physical, like the Sunday markets. You know what I mean? Like, go buy some bread at the markets. I don't mean the financial markets. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's definitely a competitor to gold. It's a competitor to gold in the sense that you can send money overseas at the click of your fingers, very cheap. You don't use it for buying bread and pies. I really don't think that's the perfect use case for Bitcoin. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree. Apparently I've got the wrong one. So which one are you talking about? BIT USD perpetual on Bybit. Yeah, that's right. I should have seen it. It's right there. I'll check it out for you. Anyway, that other one was pretty good though, right? So we'll check it out. Yeah, so you said there's a massive long signal coming up. I'll check it. Just using chart analysis. Now, again, you know, with these exchange coins, generally speaking, they do have some pretty stuffed up supply. They don't really have any structured, max supply or anything like that. I don't know if that's the case with this coin here, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like what you might be referring to. There was something like this with a massive downtrending line before, of course. Seems like that's pretty broken now. We did have a retest of that line and we did see a bounce due to it, but it looks like you want me to zoom into a shorter time frame potentially. In which case you might be talking about something like this. Is that what you're referring to? And so I'll delete this massive line and I'll bring up, you might be talking about this. Is that what you're talking about? In which case, yeah, you're completely correct. That's a very interesting. It's actually, it looks surprising. It's actually a very similar structure to the one we had before. It might be the same coin, might just be a different exchange chart. Yeah. You know, we're bouncing on that support zone. What's the RSI looking like? RSI is uptrending. Price is going sideways. That's a bullish divergence. MACD, for example, very similar story. MACD is uptrending. Price is going sideways. Bullish divergence. Where are the major indicators? For example, bull market support band. Just above. That would be a rejection zone. So this is prone to fake outs for that reason. That's something that's worth noting. It's prone to fake outs. Bull market support band is in a pretty big range just above the breakout point. We could see a massive fake out. But yeah, it is something worth watching. If I was to spend more time on this, I could bring up a lot more stuff. But I mean, just to be brief, we can go back to the daily chart and try to identify some resistance and support. And look, really, there's not much because the whole coin's price history has just been downtrending. So there's not really much. I mean, if I was to be completely speculative, I could say that's if we were to massively pump, we could retest that, but I doubt we'll pump that high. There's really not much. You can draw speculative lines like this, make them dash. That can be a potential take profit. But in terms of horizontal support and resistance, doesn't really look like we've got much going on here. Potentially this level here, 79 cents. What else? This level here at 60 cents is one. We've got, obviously, the range low as well. Yeah, that's how I'd chart it, roughly. Just off the top of my head. It looks like a rug pull, he says. Yeah, again, it does look like a rug pull. But that's natural. That's natural of exchange coins. They generally do look like rug pulls because the supply situation is so stuffed in every scenario. So they don't necessarily ever look like good investments. And they're not good investments. They're good trades. They're good for trading. They do see... Because look... Sorry. When you get massive downtrends, you don't just drop down. You don't just drop down straight. You drop down, you bounce a little bit, drop down, bounce a little bit, and that's what you get with these exchange coins. If you look at ICP, ICP is a great example of this. Very similar structure, or at least it was. Yeah, look, very similar structure. Exactly what I said. Very similar structure. You know, terrible coin in terms of tokenomics, absolutely abysmal. But when you drop down, you're slowly dying out. You drop down, you see a bounce. Drop, bounce, drop, bounce, drop, bounce, drop, and you can catch those little bounces on the way down. So even when a coin's terrible and it looks like trash and the tokenomics are trash, you can still make money. I think people in crypto, they get the mindset that you can't make money on coins that don't look good in the long term. It's like not everything needs to be a long-term trade, you know. You can have short-term trades. And I made so much, you know how much money I made on ApeCoin? Man, oh man. ApeCoin, trash coin, absolute joke of a coin. But the point is, it doesn't matter what the coin is. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's a trade. Who cares? And matter of fact, ApeCoin is lining up for another trade. So it's all good, you know? It's all good. Everything has been going down for the last 9 months. Lo, you're completely correct. Everything has been going down for the last 9 months. But again, I think regardless of the market direction, generally exchange coins do that more often than not. Okay, that's my overarching point. But we'll get into the reaction now. I want to get my YouTube thing up, so I'm going to have to block the screen for a second. Just 1 second, guys. Bear with me. We'll get a reaction going. I don't know exactly what I'm going to react to. I haven't actually looked into his videos at all. I thought it'd be funny to just bring it up and just see what goes on. So we can do it. So we'll type it up in a second. Do you guys want me to do, by the way, also that poll was pretty good. 80% of people said I should do guests on the live stream. I'll definitely consider doing that. I'll look into it. I'll ask around and see if people are willing to do it. Hopefully, as the channel grows, I can get some big names in there. You know, I would really love to talk to Benjamin Cohen. You know, I'd really love to talk to Benjamin Cohen. Benjamin Cohen and myself, particularly during the bull market, we disagreed strongly, and we were actually in discourse at one point. We threw some messages back and forth regarding his lengthening cycles theory at that point in time, and regarding my 4-year cycle theory at that point in time. Lengthening cycles theory obviously was not correct. It was not proven correct. In fact, it was invalidated. And so I was correct in that regard. But, you know, regardless of whether I was correct or not, the point is he's a good analyst, and I do respect his analytical work. And I would like to talk to him on the stream. I think he'd be a very interesting person to interview. He's got a very methodical style of analysis. But obviously that's a bit of a dream, considering how many subs he has compared to me. Maybe one day. Very much, Peach. Thank you for watching, Wolf. Sorry, I can't read. Thank you very much, Wolf. I unfortunately have to go. Love your work, mate. No worries. Catch you later. Have a great night / morning, wherever you are. Yeah, have a good one. What's your other YouTube channel? I do have another YouTube channel. It's the Limitless YouTube channel down here at the bottom of my YouTube homepage. You'll find it. It's my second channel. I have not really posted that much on there because mainly I'm worried about censorship, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead and do... What should we do? Moonboy Kyle or MM Crypto? What are we going to... BitBoy Crypto? One of the big ones. One of the big, like, you know, kind of funny marketing accounts, I'll call them. Because they're not analysis, they're marketing accounts. They're good at marketing. I reckon we'll do it Moonboy Crypto. Moonboy Crypto. Is that his name? Moonboy Crypto? Or Moonboy Kyle, right? Moonboy Kyle, yeah. The moon. Nice. We'll check it out. Look, there we go. Bitcoin, the worst time is yet to come. How can we not watch that? The worst time's yet to come. I don't know. We're going to have to watch it, right? Gonna have to watch it. I mean, I can't miss this. Let's check it out. See if the volume's working.
In this video, I just looked into the Bitcoin chart, and right now I can see that the worst is yet to come. We have to talk about this. I'm gonna go into the chart right now and show you that the worst...
Why is he on a phone? Shouldn't he be on a computer? Like, and not even that, but like, why has he got like he's not actually filming, he's screen recording his phone. This could be for a reason though. Maybe he's going to show the chart on his phone.
Is yet to come for Bitcoin, and the chart is not lying. Now, let's dive straight into it, because I think I don't want to waste any time here. Because if you guys are trading Bitcoin right now, then you need to know this. Look at this, guys. Bitcoin is right now ranging in between support and resistance.
Okay,
right?
all right. I don't know if I can do this to myself. This is gonna hurt me. Like, this is gonna hurt my brain. I'm gonna have to put my sunglasses on to protect myself. I need self-defense, because I'm telling you right now, that chart isn't a chart. I'm gonna draw it up in a second here. I'm putting my sunglasses on for self-defense. That's what we've come to now. Right? So he's got a horizontal channel. We're going to go to the chart. We're going to go to the Bitcoin chart. We're going to match what he's got here. We're going to get a fresh Bitcoin chart. Match what he's got. He's got a horizontal channel on Bitcoin. All right. First of all, that's not a horizontal channel, okay? That's not what a horizontal channel is. All right, so let me see how he's drawn it again. All right, he's done something like this. Something like that. Okay, in order to have a horizontal channel, ladies and gentlemen, to probably the one female in here, I'm going to say ladies and gentlemen, where in reality I could just say gentlemen. But ladies and gentlemen, in order to have a horizontal channel, you need 2 retests of the top side / bottom side and 3 retests of the other corresponding side. We currently have 1 retest of a top side, 1 single wick, and he's saying that this is a horizontal channel. And we have like 5 fake outs for the downside. So just straight off the bat, Subscriber count, 562,000 subscribers, does not even know how to draw a channel.
And the most important thing to understand here is that this could be one out of two patterns. We have talked about before how this could technically actually be seen as a double bottom, and if we break the resistance, then we could shoot all the way up here to $36,000.
$36,000 seems like a fairly random target as well. That's something I will say. I think I've identified my support resistance targets quite well on Bitcoin. And if we go to my actual bottom prediction page, and we bring up my main Bitcoin chart, I'm very upset that I deleted my 4-year cycle chart by accident, by the way. But the main resistance that you should be looking at, really, I mean, other than that downtrending line, is of course 28.6k. And the reason for that is because we have a massive gap on the volume profile. And if we look at that, we can bring up the volume profile. Huge gap at the volume profile up until 26k. Now 36k is what he said. And 36k, of course, is literally a random level. There is nothing there. I don't understand exactly what he's looking at. 36k seems like he just pulled it from thin air. There's actually nothing at 36k. Let's delete everything and look at 36k and see what he's kind of getting at here. Because it might seem like I'm being nitpicky, but he's making a big claim in front of potentially 500,000 subscribers. What is at 36k that's so important? Look at that line. What do you see there? I don't see anything. I think he's just making it up, guys. I think he's just making up the number. Anyway, that's pretty funny, man. He's just making up a random number. That's funny.
That is the bullish scenario. But, as you guys know, the trend is your friend. And right now, the trend is to the downside. So that has us thinking about another pattern. This pattern. A head and shoulders pattern. And it is starting to look more and more likely that this could be a head and shoulders pattern, especially after we had some price action here in the recent 48 hours. So, what happens if...
It's not a head and shoulders pattern. I've gone over this in the past before. It's definitely not a head and shoulders pattern. In fact, there's really no doubt about that. You know, there's nothing here, in my opinion, that resembles a head and shoulders. What this could be, more likely, is a rounding top formation. And that's why you have this nice curved, top. You can see that works out pretty perfectly. There's no clearly identifiable head and shoulder there. I don't know where you'd get the left shoulder. In fact, the left shoulder is inverted, and then you have a head, and then you have like one kind of small right shoulder. It's not a head and shoulders pattern. It's a rounding top at worst, and at best, it's a double bottom formation. So that's incorrect as well, by the way. But I will let him continue. I want to talk about an actual analyst in a second. I don't know where I can find one. They seem to be very, very, very underpopulating the crypto space, actual analysts. I would love to react to an actual analyst. Crypto Career University was an interesting reaction because he knows what he's talking about. But other than that, I don't necessarily know who I would talk about. There's a few. But let's get back into Moonboy Carl, of course.
If Bitcoin breaks down here, that's the big question that everyone is asking me right now. And I want to tell you exactly what is the target here. And first I want to tell you something. I am right now in Singapore for a crypto conference. It's absolutely incredible. I love Singapore. And guys, if you want to trade this breakout or this breakdown, press the Bybit link below, because if you press the link, you get up to $5,000
Okay. Look what he's doing here. This is a classic example of someone who is shilling their affiliate link with no actual content provided. Now, I have an affiliate link, of course. My affiliate link is to the BitGet exchange. But the difference between me and him is I actually do analysis, and I actually take trading signals, and I actually make signals. And I actually like the exchange I use as well. I use the exchange on a daily basis. Moonboy Carl, for example, draws up a fake rectangle channel formation, a horizontal channel formation, a literal invalid channel formation that doesn't exist. He makes up a fake target at 36k that doesn't exist. There's nothing there. And then he shills his link and says, if you want to trade this, you can using my link. And when we break out, even to the upside of a downside, he'll probably say he predicted it. So there's a complete difference there. And I will say that this is clearly scam behavior. There's no one else that's going on here. This dude probably didn't even look at the chart. He probably just woke up and probably just whipped out his iPhone. Yeah, because the fact of the matter is, he's not doing analysis. So
your account, if you just sign up with my specific link, I have initial one of those, but BitGet and Binance and these. Let's go back into the chart. So now, if you do have thousands of dollars of bonus now on these exchanges, now.
That's not how exchange bonuses work as well. And again, I'm very open about that. If you sign up to BitGet using my referral link, you will not just get 4,000 USD deposited into your account. You need to do tasks in order to earn that USD. He's making the claim that you just get it and you can trade with it straight away. It's just completely incorrect. It's just, again, another attempt to mislead his audience.
If we break down here, you can make a short position. And the target is actually quite mind-blowing. The target, if Bitcoin breaks down here, let me just show you here. Let me just show you. Alright, so Bitcoin is here in a head and shoulders pattern. And if Bitcoin breaks the support here, then the target could be all the way down here at $12,000. Now, this is very, very interesting. Because if that happens, then of course, that is going to lead to a massive cascading sell-off in the whole...
The sunglasses are going back on, man. I can't take it. It's too bad. Again, for people who are not familiar with the sunglasses, these are protecting me from the cringe that is infecting my brain at this point in time. $12,000 is not the correct target for a breakdown. Even in that even in this hypothetical rectangle, horizontal channel formation that doesn't exist, right? Let's say, for example, that this channel formation that is made up out of nowhere, that's completely invalid, that doesn't exist. Let's say that it's valid for sake of argument. Let's just act like it's valid, okay? And we will go ahead and act like that channel is valid, and we'll take our target from that channel, okay, and we'll apply it to the breakout point, and we can see that even in the scenario, in fact, that's not even how you do it. It would be a bear flag in this scenario. So even in the scenario in which he is correct and this channel is real and it does exist, even from a conservative measurement, this would, in fact, let's do a normal measurement, because he's advertising it as normal. This would be targeting more like 6K. But he's saying it targets 12K, which is interesting, because it doesn't. So he's made up a channel, doesn't exist. He's made up a channel out of nowhere. He's made up the 36K resistance. He's made up the target, and he's lying to people about his affiliate link. It's a great start. It's a great start.
Full crypto market. But guys, we can make money from that if you use my Bybit link, and if you sign up and you make a short position, then out of this massive downtrend, we can actually make more Bitcoin. So let me know down below if you guys are trading on Bybit, and let me know if you have already left a thumbs up, because I love you guys and I love Singapore. Look at this. I'm in Singapore right now. It's beautiful.
Just so you guys know, he's paying for his Singapore trip using your Bybit referral fees for his trash analysis. Just so you guys know. Just so you know. Anyway, that was terrible. I don't know why I did that. Yuck. Crypto is probably a lot of the same thing, I assume, right? Probably the same thing. Crypto. Yeah, exactly the same. Bitcoin right now.
Today for the Bitcoin
Dude,
price.
they use the same filming methods. Guys, maybe I should use that method. Yes or no? Yes or no in the chat. Should I film every single video from now on screen record on my iPhone? Yes or no? Yes or no? Should I film every single video right now, screen record on my iPhone? I think that's a yes, to be honest. It's working for them, man. They're rich. Look at that. This guy's driving around. He's in Singapore. He's at crypto conferences. He's going well, man. Maybe I should just do that instead. Hey, I'm going to check out an actual video after this. Don't worry. For people wanting actual analysis, I will certainly be doing it. Jay, I'm joking. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm not doing that. Guys, I'm not going to film it on my iPhone. I'm joking. I'm joking. I would never stoop to that level.
Yes, guys, I am back at it again. Bitcoin is about to go crazy. In fact, I will go onto the charts. I will show you the weekly. And one pattern which happened exactly like this in 2018, 2019, the last time Bitcoin was printing this pattern, we got, and now please guys sit down, a 22x.
Sit down, guys. Sit down.
Watch this video until the very end. I will talk about my game plan, my strategy. My trades, my multi-million US dollar trade on Bitcoin, which is right now hovering around like only 6% and a profit, to be honest, it was already higher. But of course, the question is, what am I gonna do now? When am I going to scale up this trade, and much more? I will talk about price targets. So go down below, press the like, take a second out of your day.
You know what? Watch what I'm going to do right now. Watch my cursor. I'm going to go down below here. Like you said, go down below. I'm going to press that like button. I'm going to show my support to the channel.
Press the like one time. You will make my day and I will make your day in the next video as well.
Like the live stream, by the way. Like the live stream.
Thank you so much. And now let's go straight into the content and let's talk about the Bitcoin price, because it's boring. I mean, guys, let's be very honest to each other. What we see here is the week.
Okay, so he's actually, at least he's got a chart up here. Okay, so he's got a relatively valid chart. He's got that downtrending line from November. This is semi-respectable, more than Moonboy Kyle. He's got that downtrending line. He hasn't extended it back from November. As you can see, he's kind of left it. I don't know if you guys can see this on my screen, actually. It's kind of at the top of the screen. But regardless, I'll move my screen down a little bit so you can see it. Here we go. So he's got it. It's stemming from the wrong place. Okay, it should be stemming all the way from the top in November, as you guys would know. But at least he has it. At least it's there. Sorry for the voice crack. My voice is very sore from speaking. At least it's there, okay? At least it's there. It's better than nothing. We'll continue going.
I mean, guys, let's be very honest to each other. What we see here is the weekly candles, and basically for the last 10 weeks. Like, the price is the same like 10 weeks ago. This is something we are not used to in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is still below this crazy downward sloping trend line, right? Which, if I'm zooming in, you see we just touched it once again and got rejected, which is of course a bearish sign for Bitcoin. But zooming out a little bit here on the weekly, we can see that one pattern is unfolding. You know what? I will make it easier for you. I will go to the line chart. And what you can see here is at least a potential W pattern. We are on the verge of invalidating it.
It's just the same old. W pattern, blah, blah, blah. Same stuff I talk about. And same stuff that Moonboy talks about. Any actual videos, I'm going to go through some of the comments. I'm going to try and find an actual analysis video that I can react to genuinely. So I'm going to read through some of these comments now. Hopefully I can find one. Let's see. Let's see. Let me get my notepad back up here, see what I've got installed for the rest of it. Okay, Jason Casper, he's very friendly and helpful to other YouTubers. He is very funny. Guys, I have the perfect idea, by the way. Perfect idea. Sorry if that clap was very loud in your headphones. Apologies. Perfect idea. Someone recommended this to me the other day. I think it's a very great idea. I'm going to do another poll. All right, I know. So many polls today. Should I do a crypto... Hold on. I need to move my mic. 1 second. Should I do a crypto YouTuber tier list? This is a great idea, right? Someone recommended this to me the other day. A YouTube crypto YouTuber tier list. So I can rate them from like F tier to A tier. I can get like 15 lawsuits in one video. That's such a good idea though, right? That'd be so funny. And it'd be good as well, because it wouldn't just be funny. It'd actually be analyzing and showing you guys who I like as YouTubers and who you should listen to or whatever, you know, recommendations. I think it'd be cool. Someone says Bitboy Crypto. Maybe I will. If I can't find anyone else, I might. Man, these guys are so cringe. Yeah. Need vodka. Man, I need vodka just to get through those videos, man. I need like at least like a triple shot per minute of content. Every 20 seconds, just take a shot. Put on the sunglasses. I might double sunglass. One of these. Get one of these on as well. Just to get through the cringe that's just coming through my screen. Just protect myself. It's too much, man. It's too much. Thanks for saying FOMC properly. No problem. I do stuff that up quite often. I say FMOC all the time. Those glasses are GOAT. Thank you very much. They are indeed. I do like them. Check out Castor chart. His coin. Yeah, Moonboy Kyle has a coin. He does. He has Castor. It's his coin, right? Let me bring back up my chart here so I don't delete two charts in one video. For those of you who don't know, I did delete my 4-year cycle chart accidentally in the recording of this live stream, which is very infuriating. It's going to take me a while to draw that back up, especially considering all the text I had on the slide, but, you know, it is what it is. Got to do what you got to do. But Castor, he has a coin, Moonboy Kyle. I don't know if it's on TradingView. He has a coin that he shilled for like 15 years. Looks great. Looks great, man. Good job, Moonboy Kyle. Wolf back. We're back here with another altcoin trading signal on Castor. Send it to the moon, 100x. Realistically, I would never touch this coin, ever. I know I said before that, like, I don't mind trading meme coins because you can still make money, but I would actually, just for the sake of the fact that I absolutely can't say that, I don't want to cop a lawsuit, but I would never trade this coin. I just can't. I can't do it. I have some sort of standard, you know? Like, I have a moral standard that I need to abide by, and I can't trade Castor. I just can't. I'm sorry. That's funny, though. Hey, mate, what's your opinion on Putin's speech? Depends which one you're talking about, my friend. If it was in the last 24 hours, I wouldn't have seen it because I've been very busy in the last 24 hours. And that's why I missed the Reserve Bank of Australia saying that they're going to trial central bank digital currency. I missed that because I was busy in the last 24 hours. But that's why I didn't stream yesterday. You would have noticed. I've been, pretty occupied. There will be a CME gap at 36k. Maybe that's what he's referring to then. Yeah, but I think that, just because there's a CME gap there doesn't mean you just like kind of forget about everything else on the charts. I don't think just because there's a gap, that's like validation to just ignore everything else. Like, it's very clear. It's abundantly clear that 28.6k is a very major level for Bitcoin. The volume profile alone is very big evidence of that. Look at the massive gap on the volume profile. And where does it start up again? 28.6k. So that's like saying, okay, don't worry about this green support block. Don't worry about 18k. There's a gap at 9.8k. Therefore, if we break down, we're going straight to 9.8k. You can't just ignore the support and resistance just because of the gap. Yeah. Let's see if we can get another reaction video in here. Leave your recommendations, guys. Review a crypto savvy video. I might do so. I'll add it to the list. If there's no better recommendations, I'll go ahead. Market makers, I'll add it to the list. A lot of people are saying crypto savvy. Yeah, heaps of people saying crypto savvy. I might check him out in a second here. Crypto G, Crypto Rover. Crypto Rover's another one of those Moonboy Kyle guys, I think, off the top of my head. Actually, I don't want to make any claims, but it's probably a very bad idea. Let's see if he actually is. I can probably just see by the thumbnails, so let's see. Okay.
Hi there.
I can't. Yeah, we'll go with Crypto Savvy, though, because a lot of people want Crypto Savvy, so let's check him. It's hard to type because I have my mic in the way, so bear with my slow typing and messy typing here. Crypto Savvy. Yeah, I've heard a lot about this guy, which is weird because he's not actually that big of a channel, but everyone seems to talk about him. So we can take a look. I'll watch a couple minutes of his video and then we'll switch over to someone else. All right. Bad news for Bitcoin.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and as usual, we're going to be going over the charts. We're going to look at what's going on. We're going to take a look at traditionals. Then we're going to go into a little bit of detail in the DXY. And then finally, we'll take a close look at Bitcoin, and I'm going to show you the targets that I'm looking for. I'll also show you the invalidation point of the bearish case scenario, which has been playing out all year, obviously. Let's take a look.
Crypto Savvy's a bear, someone says.
Look at what's going on, and we're going to start out with, sorry guys, got something in my eye. We're going to start out here with our RSI and our descending channel on the Dow. As you guys know, the bottom of this descending channel right now is above that. But remember yesterday I said if we broke this 113, then we would look for support around this.
So I don't.
112.
Okay, straight off the bat, I don't think his DXY chart is correct. And the reason being is because the DXY chart, in my opinion, is very straightforward. The DXY chart has an uptrending line stemming from 2006. Okay, and we got a clear rejection off that line in the last week, a clear wick. I think he's looking at this secondary line that I have here, which is of course a valid line, but it's not the reason for the initial rejection. He's looking at this line that's stemming from 2018. So he's correct. Yes, dropping below that line was bearish. He is correct in that, but I think he does need to chart up where that line actually stems from, which is 2007.
112.50, somewhere in that range, that 55 EMA, and then a big bounce from there. If we even get down to that range, I do expect a bounce there though. As you guys know, my next target for the breakout of this was 119. Still looking for that. We also have 122 on the daily, and we're going to take a look at that right now before getting into Bitcoin. But as you can see, that's just a measured move of this rising channel here. We broke out, tested it for support. I do believe this is our next area to watch, 122.15.
Okay, so this is where he loses me because he's pointing at very high levels here, and those levels just aren't substantiated, mainly because of the fact that he's entirely missed the validity of this line from 2006. But that can be that doesn't mean he's a bad analyst or anything. I miss lines all the time. I'm just saying that his claims of DXY might be pretty off the grid due to the fact that he's missing out on a very critical long-term line. So I might skip his DXY section for that reason. We'll go to his Bitcoin analysis. This might be interesting.
Up with this falling wedge. Next test will be down here. When we test this bottom, we may be bottomed out there, possibly. So something to be aware of. But I do have... I'm
going to rewind this a bit.
Check them out if you have daily. As you can see, the RSI is matching up with this falling wedge. Next test will be down here. When we test this bottom, we may be bottomed out there, possibly. So something to be aware of. But I do have my thoughts on the Amazon compared to Bitcoin chart since December 2nd, that our false bottom of 7,500 would be sometime in February or March.
So just hold on a second. Can someone confirm to me, does Crypto Savvy think we're going to 3K on Bitcoin? Someone confirm that in the chat. Because from what I've seen here, it seems like he might think that. Just say yes or no quickly so I can respond without watching too much. Does he think we're going to 3.5K on Bitcoin? From this chart here, it seems like he does. Does anyone know or no? Because what he just said, what he claimed was that Bitcoin is in descending wedge formation, which is correct. It could be, depending on the way you draw it. And it's got a kind of wedge form, a kind of triangle kind of thing on the RSI as well. And he's saying that every time we've retested the bottom of this certain level on the RSI, we see the bottom of the wedge. And so, as per Elliott wave theory, which is a 5-wave theory, 5-wave correction, we will see another retest at the bottom of the wedge. And he says that retest will happen at around 3.5K. Now, I would like to make it very clear. It would be almost mathematically impossible for Bitcoin to reach 3.5K. And the reason being is because the total amount of Bitcoin that has been lost, that is no longer in circulation, that cannot be accessed anymore, bumps up the floor price a significant amount to the point in which we probably won't get that low, right? And you might think, well, Wolf, I don't know about that. You might think, well, we reached 3K in 2020. It's like, well, okay. Let's see what actually happened in 2020. In 2020, we reached a price of 3,900 of Bitcoin. In 2018, we reached a price of 3,100 of Bitcoin. Since 2018, which is almost 4 years ago, we have never reached a 3,000 price again, besides in that brief drop in 2020. What you need to understand is that there has been 4 years since we reached anywhere near a price point that he's talking about here. In that 4-year period of time, we have seen an entire bull market and half of the bear market. In that bull market and bear market, we have seen a massive amount of Bitcoin flow out of circulation into lost wallets that can no longer be accessed, raising the floor price, right? And in that period of time as well, we have accumulated more and more, as seen by the on-chain data, Bitcoin holders that do not sell their coins regardless of where the price goes. The floor price on Bitcoin is much higher than 3,000 on Bitcoin. That's what I'd say to that. And this is what I say all the time. I say it over and over again. Elliott wave theory is very dangerous because Elliott wave theory can easily justify extremely low price points with no substantial evidence in the charts or via actual real world data. For example, how many people hold Bitcoin. So I would caution him away from that. Now, do I think his analysis is valid from a TA perspective? Of course it is. Of course it is valid from a TA perspective. There's nothing here that I can critique from a TA perspective. However, in order to be an efficient analyst, I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying, in order to be an efficient analyst, you need to analyze from both a charting perspective and from a real-world perspective. And from the real-world perspective, I can tell you right now that 3.5k Bitcoin would be virtually impossible unless Bitcoin literally dies. That's my opinion on that.
We get a rally up to 1415 towards the middle of next year, and then come crashing back down to around 3,500 towards the middle or end of next year. So that is what I'm looking for, unless this daily plays out as this falling wedge and we see this low this year. Now, if we see it this year, this 3,500, then that could definitely be the bottom, something to watch out for. But as you can see, this seems to be playing out perfectly right now. Let me get the RSI off there and show you guys the measured move of this descending triangle. If we break this 18.2, 17.6 could be support, but I don't believe so. That would get us down.
This is one more thing that I will say, is that he is correct. We are in a descending triangle on the logarithmic chart, but the first mistake he's making is drawing triangles on the logarithmic chart. There's no reason to be doing that, okay? That's very important. There's no reason to be drawing those triangles on the logarithmic chart. The only reason you should be using the logarithmic chart, right, unless you're trying to fit a certain bias, is to draw long-term trend lines. The logarithmic chart does not need to be used to draw a descending triangle in Bitcoin. It simply does not. So what he's done is he's taken a conventional triangle formation, which is meant to play out on a linear scale, which is mathematically proven to play out on a linear scale. This is how TA is created, okay? I have a TA course. I have a very good understanding of how charting patterns work. Myself and Mega Crypto develop our course. Linear charts, that's where market patterns work the best. So he's taken a linear chart market pattern and he's applied the measured move in the same way as you would apply. He's gone to the logarithmic chart and he's applied the measured move from a linear chart market pattern to the logarithmic chart, and hence he has ended up with a price target that is significantly lower than what is actually meant to be there. Very dangerous stuff. Okay, so he's technically not incorrect from a charting perspective. That was a descending triangle formation. That was a valid Elliott wave theory. That RSI trend was valid. But again, I'll go back to the main point here. I don't think he's making the correct weighing up of value between the real world life scenarios and what's actually going on with Bitcoin holders and lost supply and TA. They aren't separate things. They need to be conjoined. So no, I think it's a big mistake that he's made there by using a descending triangle formation on a logarithmic chart for a target. I think that's a big mistake. Now, what he could do is he could say that this resembles a descending triangle, which it kind of does. Okay, he'd be correct. And he could take a target from that, and he could actually target it on a linear chart, in which case, by his own analysis, his actual target, his valid target, would be something like 9.8k, which, by the way, lines up with the CME gap. So I think, to a certain extent, I've just done his analysis for him, and I've come up with a much more reasonable target that also makes sense in a real-world scenario. As I said, we need to join the two things, TA and real-world. The real-world scenario is there's a CME gap at 9.6k. The TA is we've got a potential descending triangle formation. I've drawn it correctly on the linear chart. I would say that he drew it incorrectly on the logarithmic chart, and I've come up with a more valid price prediction based on that. So by his own analysis, I would say 9.6k, 9.8k would be a more reasonable target. But again, look, that's his analysis. He's welcome to disagree with me. Again, if anyone, by the way, if you're watching this right now, Crypto Savvy, I'm welcome. I'm very happy for you to come on and have a discussion with me. I think it'll be very interesting. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about what I say. There is a part of reaction videos that make me a bit uncomfortable. I don't necessarily enjoy having a one-sided conversation. It feels a bit almost doggish, where you can't respond to what I say. So please feel free to reach out and we can arrange a conjoined live stream and you can discuss this with me. But I will watch a little bit more of this.
To this 3,500. Now that would be sometime.
Gotta go. Cheers, bro. No worries. Have a good one, man.
In the end of this year, maybe even the end of this month, if it follows this trend line around October 30th. So be careful, be cautious. If it does come down quickly by November to this range, that could be our bottom. But we have other areas to watch for support in here. Let's take a look at those, and then we'll take a look at the Amazon compared to Bitcoin chart. Now, let's look at the 4-hour, and we're gonna zoom in here. You're gonna see a lot of lines, but I'm gonna explain them all for you. All right, so right now, the breakout to invalidate this chart and these targets I'm showing you, we would have to break this 20,800 range. We do still have this chart, whatever, really doesn't matter, but the best thing you can do to help this channel is smash those thumbs up, guys. Take a
This is what I was talking about before. So he brings up the Amazon fractal here. This is interesting. This is exactly what I wanted to look for before. Actually, this is very interesting. So let's see what he says about it.
I noticed a few people on my Twitter
So on the left, he has the Amazon chart, and on the right, he has the Bitcoin chart.
comments. That's another thing. If you don't follow me on Twitter, give me a follow. It's at CryptoSavvy1. Use the link down below. I'll put a pinned comment in there, and it'll have my Twitter link on it. That way you don't get scammed by the scam fake Crypto Savvy accounts. Anyways, just like we had the false bottom here, that's what happens in bubble pops. I've showed you that in Sony, Nintendo, a couple other ones. Once it has a bubble pop, you always get this fake rally, right? This was about over 100% rally to get everyone bullish again. And then it came down to break this low, and then it took...
So this seems to be another point of evidence he's using for his 3.5 prediction. He had a piece of evidence that he was using before for a 3.5 prediction that I basically... I think I personally debunked it, but I certainly disagree with it at best. And he's using this Amazon fractal to predict, as a supporting piece of evidence to predict that 3.5k. Now again, I would say that he's mistaken in doing this, and there's many reasons. It's because, reason one, fractals are not reliable. Okay, fractals are not reliable for price predictions. They are simply used as something to observe and monitor. And reason two, he is again using Elliott wave theory, and my points on Elliott wave theory from before are very clear. And they remain the same. I don't agree with the use of Elliott wave theory to basically any extent. I think it's a bit of a waste of time. I think it can be used to validate biases too easily for it to be actual TA. I think it's very speculative. And he's used Elliott wave theory in the same measure as he did before on this chart. And I think it's equally as invalid. But what I will say is that his ability to identify the Amazon fractal as a legitimate fractal is commendable. And his ability to identify the fact that Amazon also had a similar RSI and MACD at the same time, as per what the fractal did, is commendable as well. I just disagree with the end result of his analysis. This is the thing. The process of his analysis is fine. It's the end results of his analysis that I disagree with, and that's mainly due to the fact that I disagree with his use of the logarithmic chart, and I disagree with his use of Elliott wave theory. So, look, Crypto Savvy, you know, I can't say anything particularly bad about him. He doesn't seem like a bad analyst. I just disagree with some of his methods. You know, I disagree with some of his methods. Now, someone like Moonboy Kyle, Crypto, that's a completely different story. It's a completely different game feel. Not just like a phone. BNB's having a breakout. That was a trade signal we did before. It's currently seeing a breakout. Now, that is a valid breakout, of course. However, I would say that if you're going to trade that breakout, one thing you need to be watching out for is 19.5k on Bitcoin. 19.5k is, of course, the 2017 all-time high on Bitcoin, and we are currently under 19.5k. So if I was you, I would be waiting for a... well, I don't know if I'd be waiting for it, but you definitely should be very cautious and watching the charts until we break 19.5k, because it could very well be a fake out for that reason. That's an example of how you need to cross-check trades. See how easy that was, right? I saw BNB was breaking out. Someone in the comments said I'm buying BNB. I saw BNB was breaking out. All you need to do to cross-check a trade is be like, okay, it's breaking out. How does Bitcoin look? And if you have your Bitcoin chart correct, you can see how Bitcoin looks. Now, if Bitcoin was up here at 19.7k and it clearly broken 2017 all-time high, I'd be trading as well. But it hasn't, and so I'm going to remain out for now. I'll read some comments for a second here. My voice is absolutely buggered, by the way, guys, so I might end off in a very, very shortly. What I will say as well is that we haven't been able to pull many viewers in this live stream today, and I think the reason for that is because it's a Friday night here in Australia, and you guys know Australians, man. Australians get wild, you know what I'm saying? Friday night, just clocked off work. Chuck some shrimp on the barbie, as they say. let's go ahead and I think we'll wrap it up with those reaction videos. We'll read some comments. If you've got any final words to say in the comments, any questions you want me to read, I'm going to go through from them now. So let's see what people are saying. "100% agree with your Elliott Wave call." Yeah, I think it's very, very valid. Crypto Savvy and Brendan from Market Makers have the same opinion, in which case I'd probably disagree with Brendan from Market Makers, but from the looks of it, at least they're looking at the charts. You know, that's a step in the right direction with crypto YouTube these days. So I commend them. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. Nothing wrong with disagreeing with someone. I will go through and list down after the live stream a few of the channels that you guys are recommending here, and I will take a look at some of their content, and we can potentially discuss them in future live streams. I'll probably be doing one tomorrow, maybe in 16 hours from now, so maybe 18 hours. Yeah, lots of bots in the comment section. I've tried my best to delete them while live streaming. It's quite difficult. Crash trading. Latest video. I'll add it to the list, my friend. What's your low for Ethereum? My low for Ethereum. We can bring up the Ethereum chart. That's not Ethereum. So Ethereum's in a very interesting position. And the reason why it's interesting and the reason why it's not that straightforward, unlike Bitcoin, Bitcoin's very straightforward, right? Bitcoin's at the low it saw in June. Now, the Ethereum merge pumped up the Ethereum price significantly. Okay? So it's hard to compare the data on Ethereum from June to where it is now, unlike Bitcoin. So I would say the low for Ethereum, if we were to bottom out here on Bitcoin, would actually be already in. Would be in this green box at like 1,200. Maybe we go a little bit lower, and in which case we'll probably go down to like 900. That's the nearest support. You know, but if we break down on Bitcoin to 13.8k, Ethereum's in trouble, right? Because Ethereum doesn't really have any significant support below 883, really. So Ethereum would probably stoop down. I don't know. I'd have to do some actual analysis. Off the top of the charts here, again, I'd really have to do some actual analysis, but the next nearest support below that would be like 716-ish. I haven't looked into Ethereum too much. It'd probably be more like 650, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, 650. But yeah, I will have to look into Ethereum a lot more. I know that's very vague analysis. I apologize for that. It's just hard to say because the Ethereum merge threw it off a little bit. It's hard to make comparisons. Like with Bitcoin, we can just easily come to Bitcoin and say, I'll bring up the chart right now. We can just easily say, okay, we were there in June and we're back there now. Whereas Ethereum was over here in June and it's up like 30% from where it was, you know, in June now. So it's a little bit more complicated. Read some more comments. Just so you know, it's 4 a.m. here in Puerto Rico post-hurricane and we still here. Appreciate your tea. I'm learning so much. Wow, that's dedication to the channel, man. Yeah, appreciate that. Post-hurricane in Puerto Rico. That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, I heard it's massive hurricanes going on there. Joe Biden did a little bit of a talk on it. Hope everything's all good over there, man. UK here, just starting work. Have a good one at work, man. Get off YouTube. We wid you into chat. 4:30 a.m. in Montreal, yeah. Yeah, I'll switch up the times tomorrow. We'll be back at a different time so some of you people can get in here. I'm here for the first time because it's a Friday night, smashing some Coopers, tinnies. Keen on your tear. What do you drink? What Coopers? Heavy? Mild? Which one? Orange? Green? Wolves Nasdaq dropped 3.4% yesterday and closed 2.8%, but BTC held support. What if the Nasdaq starts to retrace, which is very likely? We would see Bitcoin to break out. What's your thoughts on this? My thoughts on the macro, I actually did a lot. I don't know if you're here for the start of the video, my friend, but I did a lot of analysis on the traditional markets at the start of the video. I'm going to be uploading a clip on that as I finish the live stream, possibly over the next 2 hours. But my views on broader traditional markets are very simple. The DXY is rejecting at this point in time. The UK has entered quantitative easing again. We have no reason to believe at this point that the DXY high is not in. For all intensive purposes, for all of our reasoning, for all of our understanding of the markets, for my personal opinion, okay, I don't necessarily see, I want to be very careful how I word this because it's going to be taken out of context. I don't necessarily see a very clear scenario, given what's happening in the next few days, in which the DXY just keeps pumping and the markets just keep dropping. I'm not going to say I don't see a scenario like that. It's very well could happen. It just seems as though there's being a dramatic shift right now. And I think a lot of this is based on my theories of central bank digital currencies. I think that if there is a point in which governments are going to adopt central bank digital currencies, it is going to stem from pain. And I think we're seeing pain right now with inflation. And I think they might be utilizing that pain to use that as a tool to indoctrinate populations into agreeing with central bank digital currencies in the future. So, the S&P 500 is on support until it's not. That's what I'll say. The S&P 500 is on support until it's not. Currently, it is on support. Currently, it has bullish divergence. Currently, the MACD is coming in for a bullish cross. Currently, the DXY is rejecting. Currently, Bitcoin's got a double bottom formation. All I can speak about right now is the current situation. The current situation doesn't look too bad for the markets. Okay? It doesn't. It's not to say it couldn't get worse. It can. But it doesn't look too bad right now. I'm being a bit rough. I know. I've been talking for 2 hours. It's hard to keep up with it. Keep up with the articulation. But I did do a lot on that at the start of the video, man. You can check that out. To clarify, I do definitely think there is a scenario in which we keep going down. I definitely misworded that incorrectly. I just think it's more likely than not that we've already bottomed, or we will bottom at 17.5k double bottom. And look, worst case scenario, in my opinion, the worst case scenario, just based on what I'm seeing right now, we go down to the 200-week SMA on the S&P. We go down a little bit more. Everyone thinks we broke the low. Everyone thinks we're going down further, but we actually bottom on the 200-week SMA, which is just below, and we get caught, and then we start going up. Who knows? That could be a scenario as well. Reading some more comments here. My throat is slowly dying. Someone says, do you follow astrology in trading? No, I don't. I don't follow astrology in trading. Now, look, controversially, I do understand why people do follow it. And that's not because I agree with astrology. I think astrology, and again, I don't want to offend anyone, but I do think astrology is a joke. I don't agree with astrology. I think it's completely incorrect. That's my personal opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me. But the reason why I don't think it's completely and utterly irrational to follow in trading is because if enough people believe in something, it materializes, okay? So when astrology says the market's going to dump 20% on this day, if enough people believe in that, it will dump 20% on that day because enough people would base their actions based on what they think about astrology and sell. Therefore, it would create selling momentum and it would go down. That's not because of the stars. That's because of market psychology. So astrology, does it work in trading? Probably does a little bit. It probably does a little bit work in trading, but it's not because of the stars. It's not because astrology is real. It's because enough people are convinced astrology is real that it materializes. That's my opinion on it. What beer do you drink? Many beers. I drink many beers. To name a few, Great Northern. I drink Coopers as well. I drink, just basic Corona. Guinness is okay. It's okay. Can be a little bit. Guinness is okay when I've had a few drinks. Look, Guinness is not good to start out with. It's a little bit strong, to be honest with you. It's kind of hard to stomach. If it's like your first drink, nah. Not playing with that. But yeah. I can't say I drink as much beer as I used to. I can't say I drink as much as I used to at all, to be honest. But yeah. When I do drink, it's usually spirits now. Just simply due to the fact that I drank enough beer in my younger years to get to the point in which I get kind of PTSD. Would you call... what do we got here? I'm not going to answer any more super serious questions just because my voice is completely dead. But I'll answer some small ones. Do you think Bitcoin will go down tomorrow because of the weekly and monthly close? That's a good point. I didn't mention that in my Bitcoin video. You've got a good point there. I completely forgot about that. The weekly is closing tomorrow on Bitcoin. In fact, I'm going to make a quick segment here and I'm going to add it to the Bitcoin video. Thank you for reminding me. That's very important. I need to look into that. Specifically the monthly, okay? This is a very good thing. Thank you for reminding me of that. I'm going to add this to my Bitcoin segment. So you're getting a little bit of extra Bitcoin content here, guys. Let me just prepare it. I'm just deleting charts left, right, and center today, guys. Far out. Need to make sure that I bring it back up afterwards. So I'm going to act like this is a continuation of the video, so just bear with me here. To add on to all of this, guys, we need to be looking at the Bitcoin monthly chart. And the reason for that is very clear in my opinion. Now, the Bitcoin monthly chart is in a critical situation. It closes in around 15 hours. By the time this video gets out, it will be closing in probably 12 to 13 hours. We have the monthly candle close. And the monthly candle resistance line, support line, resistance line, whatever you want to call it, is very critical. It's sitting currently at 19.9K, right? This has been a monthly candle resistance since 2018. In fact, it marked the 2017, I should say. It marked the 2017 top. It marked a brief resistance zone before we pumped up in the bull market in 2020. And it's marked the support zone for the last 3 monthly candle closes over the course of June, July, and August. Now we have a situation here that we're in within the next kind of 15 hours, by the time it gets out, 12 to 13 hours, where if we manage to close back above 19.9K, there is a decent likelihood that the bottom is in for Bitcoin. Because the longer you hold a support, by the way, the more likely it is you bounce. Now, if we close below 19.9K, that is very bad for the long term because it means that this support zone that we've held for 3 months, that's been present since 2017, will have been lost. And it might be indicative of the fact that perhaps we move back down properly to retest 17.5K. And from that point, maybe we move down even lower. But regardless, you should be watching that, right? You should be watching that monthly close. It's very important. Breaking that, closing below 19.9K convincingly, would be bearish long term, right? That's just TA. There's no doubt about that. It would be bearish long term. Would it completely invalidate the 4-year cycle theory? Not at all, right? Not at all. The 4-year cycle theory is more valid than any monthly close, but it would be extra evidence for a lower low and an actual proper retest of 17.5K. Thanks, guys. Back in the live stream. Back in business. What do you guys think about these live streams? Do you think the videos are better? You like the videos better or the live streams? Respect from Puerto Rico. Hope all is well. Yeah, hope all is well from you as well, man. Greens? Yeah, of course. Can you also react to Jim Cramer as well? Add him to your list. Jim Cramer. Maybe I should. That would be funny. That would be funny, actually. I'll add him to the list. Optical Art. Yeah, I've heard about him. Which state are you in? Yeah, unfortunately, man, like I don't mean to sound incognito, but I'm trying to answer as many... as few personal questions as possible because I'm in a market, in a financial market. I'm giving out, some opinions on financial markets. People are weird, man. You know, I don't want someone losing money and then coming to try find me in real life. It's just not something that I really want. So I'm giving out as little personal information as possible. And it's not because I'm trying to hide anything. It's just, I'm trying to defend my personal, safety. But at the same time, someone's going to find out eventually. It's going to happen eventually. But, for as long as I can, I'll try to make sure you guys don't find out. Person said, dude, are you in a prison cell? Yeah, people comment on my brick wall all the time. Go away, man. I like my brick wall. My what is it, concrete blocks? Who cares, man? When I did Wolves of Crypto earlier this year and last year, I had an actual brick wall. There was an actual brick wall. I did it in the basement. I moved up to one of my other rooms, spare rooms. So... yeah, well, I mean, it's a different house, but, I could go back to the basement. I mean, it would look pretty similar. Have you bought any Bitcoin yet, mate? I actually have bought some Bitcoin. I bought around that 18K level. I know it was a little bit above my buy target. In fact, I need to bring my chart back up. That's a reminder. Thanks for that. Yeah, my buy target is 17.5K to 18K. I did buy a little bit early. Some, not 33% by any means. But I did buy. And look, I already have Bitcoin. I already have a long-term bag. I'm adding to that. I have a long-term bag from the previous bear market. But I did add to it a little bit. But yeah, I do intend to buy more, of course. Finish up the stream and look after yourself. Don't push yourself too much if you're starting to struggle. There's always tomorrow. That's right. There is always tomorrow, but at the same time, got to answer some questions. My voice will recover. Live streams are awesome. First time catching a live stream. Personally, really liking the interaction. Thanks. I like both. Awesome. 3-month close. It's probably important as well. We'll look into that tomorrow. Yeah, look. I do like the live streams, but the risk with the live streams is that, I do leak information or something stupid happens, or, obviously when something's unscripted, there is a chance I say something I don't mean and then I get banned and someone comes at me with a lawsuit like an idiot. But, it's fun. It's all good fun. I'll just be careful. Anyway, guys, might end it up there. So, you guys have a great night or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. And I'll catch you guys in the next live stream. I will be uploading segments of this live stream like usual. So if you missed those segments and you don't feel like watching them back in this live format, you can check back in a few hours on the channel and there will be a couple of videos up. So anyway, guys, again, you guys have a great night and I'll catch you in the next live stream. Morning, whatever it is. See you guys.